The Finns are banged up, and the biggest bang is Tyreek Hill, out for the year. Mike McDaniel sums it up this way.
Every team has the same situation going on, different cadence. Everybody has injuries. No one cares about who you don't have, and so it's the team playing football together.
Darren Waller, who saw game action for the first time last week, talks about what the Dolphins need to do to move forward without Tyreek.
The guys just stepping up in whatever their role is. I feel like there's going to be a lot of guys in the receiver room that are going to have more opportunities to make plays, and I have faith in them, especially from what I've seen over camp and through these first few weeks. And football is a game and a business where you got to move forward. And I feel like we got guys that can move forward and allow us to continue to have balance in this thing and continue to build.
We'll see what the Dolphins can put together today. Time to talk about it. This is Gameday Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans. Tobin, Solana, with Omar Kelly on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
Gameday Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get offers on select models now through September 2nd. Learn more at Lexus.com. By Edmore Sawgrass Buick GMC. Catch massive savings on over 22 acres of new Buick and GMCs at Edmore Sawgrass Buick GMC. Get backed by Morse and visit EdmoreSawgrassBuickGMC.com. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome on in. It is another edition of Game Day Uncensored right here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Brendan Tobin here with you alongside my co-host Alejandro Solana. Solana, we got a fun one here today. The Miami Dolphins got the chance to move to 2-3. They are in Carolina, and Carolina obviously, maybe not surprisingly, has had their struggles so far this year. So, they got opportunity to try and crawl their way out of this sludge after getting their first win, our first Game Day Uncensored after a win.
Yeah, Tobin, Carolina stinks. Let's just get it out of the way right now. And Saturday, last night, and yesterday in general, was a great day for South Florida sports. The Canes win. The Heat look solid in the first half. I mean, it's preseason. The Panthers kicked the Lightning's ass again. Inter Miami won. Let's keep it rolling into Sunday, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, just don't. This really is the creme de la creme. There's nothing like October sports. You're in the heart of the football season. Everything's going on. Basketball's about to start. Hockey's about to start. In my world, you got some UFC going on last night. I was up to the wee hours watching Alex Pereira get his belt back. It was a lot of fun. So very, very exciting. Brittany, you excited after a Canes win yesterday? Were you happy with the Canes performance?
First half performance, not second half performance.
Are you kidding, Brittany? They smoked them.
I don't like conservative play. You gotta have the killer instinct. Gotta put the game way earlier than that. We let them back in.
I mean, they didn't let them back in. They just were like a gnat hanging around for what was inevitably going to be a loss because they smoked them so bad.
Should be a more convincing win, in my opinion.
This is incredible. I mean, I can't believe this. After I get it, but like they you know all the miracles that would have had to happen for them to do that.
They almost recovered that first onside kick.
I think it wasn't their second one because their first one stunk.
The first one was the one that bobbled out of everybody's hands, and like that was the one that they almost got. The second one went straight to our player.
I thought there was three of them. I thought that they did one that went right to us. Then the second one bounced around and Basainth caught it, and then Basainth got the third one. But neither here nor there. I get you.
I saw a lot of that yesterday where people were saying, can't even celebrate this win anymore. The win feels like a loss. You're 5-0. You beat 3 ranked teams. What are you doing?
I celebrated that win very hard, just like Michael Irvin taking a belt to the brick wall. I thought it was fantastic yesterday. But I could you imagine being apologetic as a Canes fan? You start your season beating Notre Dame, Florida, and Florida State. It's the greatest start to a season like ever.
Crazy.
Just
Absolutely
as far as just
crazy.
vibes.
Yeah, for
not
sure.
like who you beat, not as far as the time. I'm just saying, like, You've beaten all of your rivals, and it's really clear that you're better than them. Anyway, I get it though. Brittany's got a very critical eye when it comes to these Canes. We have a critical eye on these Miami Dolphins.
Yes.
Last week beating the New York Jets on Monday Night Football. Of course, the big storyline, we'll get more into it, Solana, but of course, this is going to be the first time in a long time the Miami Dolphins are venturing the rest of the season without Tyreek Hill. Typically, this is a storyline surrounding the quarterback, but now they unfortunately lose Tyreek Hill. That injury was, nauseatingly gross. It was horrible to see it in the moment.
Yeah, that was that's one of those where you kind of like shut off the TV for a second. You're like, oh, no. Feel for him, man. Aside from him just being the best player on the team, Tobin, you don't want to see anybody go down like that. That's one of those injuries that takes more than a year to come back from.
Yeah.
So it sucks too, because he was finally having a great game. That was his 6th reception, and it felt like him and Tua finally took 4 weeks. And the Jets, who stink, but it felt like they finally caught some sort of rhythm. And for that to happen on just like a freak incident where he makes the play, just a huge bummer. And obviously, how do the Dolphins survive not having their best weapon? I don't know, Tobin. That's going to be one of the interesting things that we're going to learn about this team.
Yeah, it was a crazy thing too, because like you said, it goes down. I saw him as it happens fast. I immediately saw him grab his knee, and then Fowler's like, "Hey, we're going to show this once," and I was like, "Oh no!" And I watched once. I'm not one of these psychos who can sit there and watch it 900 times on Twitter. I have no interest in that. But yeah, it looked awful. Props to all the parties to be to get him, the help that he needed. I guess it's good that he got to have the surgery right away, but there's a lot of debate about where he's at right now. And so, we'll get more into it, because it's obviously a fascinating pivot point for the Miami Dolphins, but that in particular, that one to me was like, hey, the Dolphins got their first win, but it was kind of overshadowed by Tyreek Hill's injury, because what that means. Like, that to me is one of those where, like, yeah, you won. You felt relief, but you're in this spot right now where you're like, oh no, like what are okay? Maybe they can beat Carolina. Maybe they could beat some of the teams this month. But if the Dolphins are really going to come back, can they do it without Tyreek Hill? I don't know, Solana.
Tobin, can the NFL, for the love of God, stop scheduling the Dolphins on primetime games? Just stop, please. Goodell, like what? How many more injuries? How much more pain do we need to suffer through for you to just stop scheduling us? 2 primetime games in the first 4 weeks? Get out of here. Stop putting Tua against Buffalo on Thursday Night Football. What are we doing here? I don't know. It's gonna be interesting, Tobin, because you've got a situation where a lot of people just feel like this head coach and especially this quarterback are just Tyreek Hill merchants, right? Like that's kind of how people feel about this offense. So I don't know. It's gonna be very, very interesting to see how they navigate this, and it's an opportunity, right, for Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa to kind of prove. Yeah, like, look, we love Tyreek, and he's an awesome toy, but we're not Tyreek reliant either.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, we saw last year a defense that we saw an offense, that like really relented on teams taking him away, and that's how we saw Jonnu Smith flourish. But it wasn't the Dolphins offense we had all come to know under Mike McDaniel, and that has been. You've been given this steroid, basically, of the fastest thing in the league. And it's gone now. And, yeah, you think you feel pretty good about the weapons around it. I like Jalen Waddle. I think we all did. He's been playing better the last couple of weeks as well. Malik Washington, this is kind of your time to shine. He's really looked good in flashes when he gets the ball in his hands. Malibo. Terrible name. We'll see what, if Darren Waller can keep this up. We'll get more into him on our recap of last week. But I don't know, man. It's definitely a big blow. There's no doubt about it. There's no other way to really paint it. And he also, you feel for Tyreek because, we're going a couple of years ago where he's like, Cheetah, don't get hurt.
Right.
And now we've had a year where he basically was dealing with a wrist and a knee. And then now he's got like the catastrophic one on this side of 30. And you're like, wow, I don't know if people do incredible things. People can come back as faster than ever. We saw Jalen Phillips beat science. Last night I watched Drew Smith from the Heat come back from an Achilles in 9-10 months. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But this is you're talking about a guy with superpowers, and like, can he be the same guy?
Two things pop in my head right now as you're mentioning this. One was at the last game Tyreek Hill ever plays in Dolphins jersey.
Mm-hmm.
All things considered, I know, it's a little shaky when you're talking Tyreek Hill because people want to bring up the off the field stuff, and I get that. Obviously it needs to be said, but when you just talk about the player, I mean, Tyreek Hill might have had the best Dolphins single season performance in 2023 of anybody in 2025, Tobin. Correct me if I'm wrong. The chase for 2,000 yards, like I'm talking just single season performance, production on the field. Like he's up there with a Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas season, a Cam Wake season. He's up there. He might eclipse it. So when you think about that, it sucks because he's one of the best players to put on a Dolphins jersey in my lifetime. And just the drop off from 2023, that high of chasing, 2,000 yards, the Dolphins just being the greatest show on surf for at least like the first 12 weeks of the season. And it's all led by Tyreek Hill, where he's in the MVP conversation. The drop off from that to getting detained the first game last season, just not available, battling injury, and he's getting thrown passes from Tim Boyle. We just never even see Tyreek Hill play up to his capabilities to now, out for the season with that horrible leg injury. I do feel for the dude, man, because, he's literally voted the best player in the NFL by his peers, and 2 years removed from that, we could be talking about he's never playing another game for the Miami Dolphins, potentially, and having to come back, as you said, north of 30 from just a gruesome injury. That's a massive drop-off for one of the game's best players.
No doubt about it. We'll get more into it because there are national reports on his Dolphins future that we got to get to later on this hour. Omar Kelly going to join us here on Gameday Uncensored, as well as he always does. And Gameday Uncensored brought to you by Edmore Sawgrass Automall. Edmore Sawgrass Buick GMC's entire inventory is on sale, and all backed by Morris. Click EdmoreSawgrassBuickGMC.com to start shopping. GMC, we are professional grade. We will take a break. More to come here on Gameday Uncensored. Brendan Tobin, Alejandro Solana here with you until the 1 o'clock kick from North Carolina. Brittany Rodriguez producing for us here today. We'll take a break. More to come after this.
WQAM broadcasting live from the Edmore Sawgrass Auto Mall Studios. Shop massive savings on a massive Chevy inventory, all backed by Morse at Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet. Visit EdmoreSawgrassChevrolet.com. Chevy, find new roads.
The Dolphins are back on the road this week for a 1 p.m. kickoff with Carolina. We get the action started at 9 a.m. Sunday with Gameday Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
During the drive in a fall event at Rob Emden's University
Flu provides power.
QAM.
And welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day, Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. As we're getting you ready for Week 5 of the NFL season, Miami Dolphins taking on the Carolina Panthers. And the Dolphins coming off their first win. Short week for the Fins. They did win on Monday Night Football against the New York Jets 27-21. So that was some good news. Outside of the Tyreek Hill injury, Solana, which was obviously the biggest news story out of that game, what is the thing that stood out to you the most about the Dolphins getting their first win?
Other than me hitting the 3-leg parlay I told you to put in right before the end of Game Day Uncensored last week, Tobin.
You did hit that.
Other than that, yeah.
You did hit that.
No, I love Devon.
What was it again? It was Tyreek Hill catches. I know that was one of them.
Tyreek Hill catches, which the over 5.5 landed on the play where he hurt his leg. So thank you, Tyreek.
Greedy pig.
Thank you, Tyreek.
Just a soulless bastard.
Yeah. Devon Achane, anytime touchdown, which we got at the end in the second half. And Tua over on rushing yard, which Tobin, I don't know if you've looked at this morning, but is at just a measly 1.5 today, once again, which I'll probably jump on. So I know we'll get to that later on in the show, but I'm just giving you a heads up here. Tua rushing overs, it's been cashing. That's 4 straight weeks now. 4. It's cash.
They got to put some respect on his wheels.
Yes, sir. I liked the defense creating turnovers. I think everybody would agree with that. Jack Jones punching out that ball. Obviously a big time play, but we wanted the defense to have an impact, right? Not to just look like they're going to give up 1 million points and going up against a dual threat quarterback in Justin Fields. You just weren't sure how this defense is going to look. Look, man, they created 3 turnovers, so you have to credit them. And obviously, I love Devon Achane. I love this dude, Tobin. I love Devon Achane.
He has been awesome. There's no doubt about that. I think there's very little competition to say that he's been the best Dolphin so far through 4 weeks. He's been incredible. And it's interesting because I do feel like we spend the entire offseason talking about other running backs. We spend talking about Ollie Gordon and, this is going to be the Jalen Wright breakout. And Can anybody else beef up? And he's been awesome. I mean, he really has. He's not only been to a safety blanket, he's run tough. He's been able to get some hard touchdowns. Devon Achane deserves all the respect on his name, because I do feel like he has been going through and understand, you have very highly paid wide receivers. Jonnu Smith was awesome last year, but this guy has, for sure, in my opinion, been the best player on offense for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, easy. But he's gotten better every year, Tobin. I think that's what stands out to me, is that, all right, as a rookie, he's, just jumping off the page, and he's balling alongside Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. And then, he's in year 3 now, and he's your best weapon. He's improved each and every season, which I think he deserves credit for. You also mentioned he's Tua's safety blanket. I'm still not in love with the fact that half of Tua's throws are at the line of scrimmage. The offensive line didn't impress me, going to things that, maybe weren't great. Didn't impress me much, especially the right side of that line. But I guess that's expected these days against the New York Jets. It's fair to say, Tobin, correct me if I'm wrong, Justin Fields, despite the loss, outperformed Tua Tagovailoa. The eye test, and maybe when you just watch the game, but the numbers definitely, it was just a modest night for Tua. But look, the Dolphins still figured out a way to win, which is good, but it felt like they dominated that first half.
Mm.
It was a one-score game at halftime, 10-3. And then it kind of felt like they dominated the second half, but it was a one-score game at the end of the game also. So
it was a little reminiscent. It's a little reminiscent of what we watched last night. Like, the Jets were basically, kind of in control, but and I try and not get crazy about that, because I think we lose sight based on the end of the game about what we watched for most of the game. Like, look, Justin Fields made an incredible play. Was it on 4th down where he made that an incredible reverse field run? Like, he's an incredible athlete. There's no doubt about that. But man, Tua had his moments. I mean, especially one guy that we haven't mentioned, which was probably maybe the second biggest story of the game, was Darren Waller. Darren Waller's first touchdown. That was a great play by Tua. And that was a great place to put the ball for Darren Waller to go make a play. And Tua was talking about this week. That's not something he's really used to. Is like, hey, just throw it up, go get it, to a possession guy. Like, we've seen it with the Tyreek stuff where it can look a little ugly because Tyreek's, beating the defense and then he's got to come back for the ball. But Tua having a guy in the end zone to really go to, like, he hasn't had anybody close to that size. It's Mike Gesicki, who they never really vibed. Like, Gesicki was more of a Fitzpatrick guy. So it was interesting hearing Tua this week. It was almost like he had discovered an alien. He's like, wow, I could throw it there. And I do think of somebody of Tua's talents of throwing into windows, this is kind of a new area to go to. And I don't know. I thought Tua played pretty well. I mean, again, he hasn't looked yet like the guy, but like he's moved around a little bit. I thought they did a good job of that. As far as the offensive line, I'm grading it on a big time curve because you mentioned it. The right side's depleted. They got a rookie playing left guard. So I'm not expecting much. I mean, he didn't get sacked. They made another replacement at right guard, putting Cole Strange in there, which already shows you where they are because he's won the job essentially being here for 3 weeks. And it's been interesting seeing the Dolphins. I think that's been a crazy thing because you mentioned Jack Jones. It's kind of the same thing with the cornerbacks. All those cornerbacks basically got here late. They had no mini camp, no OTAs. They're all the starters. But Jack Jones has showed up. So the Dolphins have got saved a little bit by some of these last minute signings. Which you could take it either way, good or bad. But I don't know. I thought Tua and the offense, I thought they played pretty well. I didn't come away too upset with it. I certainly didn't think like the Jets outplayed. Like, I know what the rushing numbers look like because that's what the Jets are going to lean into. But, I think we know what the story of that game was. And look, a big part of it certainly was that the Jets turned the ball over like crazy, had some really stupid penalties.
I mean, they fumbled
But they're
at
the
the goal
Jets.
line.
Like, I mean, what am I going to apologize for that? I'm going to apologize for the Jets being the Jets?
No, don't apologize. The Jets are terrible. And I'm glad that the Dolphins in the NFL, you just have to figure out a way to win. You're 0-3. You can't drop to 0-4. You can't lose to that team, that miserable football team. Look, kudos to the Dolphins. And I gave myself a pat on the back for knocking down that parlay. I don't think, I've got to be honest with everybody here, I don't think I've ever been as wrong about a player going into their debut with a team in any sport of my 10 years on the radio as I was with Darren Waller, who I thought was going to have zero impact. I expected him to play a couple snaps here or there, and I just expected us to talk about, yep, here we go, another Chris Greer signing that doesn't pan out. Bro, this guy came in, first play, it was a design play to get him involved, lined him up on the outside next to the receivers. I think they had trips left, and they set him in motion. A little 8-10 yard pickup for Darren Waller. Like that's what you want to see. Right down the middle of the field, no hesitation from Tua, stepped up, found Waller, and then that play made in the back of the end zone, you mentioned great throw by Tua, and it was. For him to get his 2 feet down, Tobin, he hasn't played in 3 seasons or whatever, 19 months. For him to make that play was insane, like genuinely insane. So kudos to him, bro. Like he deserves a ton of credit. And to find out, what the injury was and how he battled back. Now that we have more information, it does make a little bit more sense. But I hope that continues because that looked very, very nice for Tua to have that safety blanket, whether in the red zone or just underneath at times.
I think, look, you mentioned how loud wrong we all were. I mean, unless you're a member of the Dolphins or a member of Darren Waller's family, or maybe some people who took flyers on anytime touchdown, I don't know who didn't think he wasn't going to do anything. Like, and honestly, in my mind, I think he's already exceeded my expectations. Like, if you would have told me Darren,
he's good, he can hang it
I
up.
think, yeah, if you would have told me at the start of this that Darren Waller would have had 2 touchdowns, I would have been like, okay, dude, yeah, sure, I'll believe it when I see it. I didn't think that he was going to do this.
The 2 touchdown day prop is up. If you think he's going to go back-to-back double touchdown games, Tobin.
I don't know. I gotta think about it. Because Julian Hill was also wide open right behind him in the second one. If Tua, if maybe Tua's feeling a little froggy, he wants to give it to Julian Hill. Julian Hill looks like he's learned to catch. And it looks like Tua's not afraid to throw him the football. And Tobin, nobody drove us nuts more than Julian Hill last year, just with his, what'd you call him, rhinoceros hands? He's a rhinoceros on the football field.
Right.
Yeah, he has hooves.
Okay, well, the hooves have been well taken care of this season because not many penalties this year. He's played smart. He caught a 2-point conversion. He had 4 yards receiving prior to Monday Night Football, but that number's climbing. It's climbing now, man.
Yeah, it's very impressive, and he was really, really good. I had no idea he could dial back the clock like that or turn back the clock like that. I didn't think that was going to be possible. So shout out to Darren Waller. He was great. And then for the defense, I think that the issues remain. The book is kind of out on them on, hey, they can't really be impactful and forceful stopping the run. That is still an issue. But, the big difference today, and you mentioned it, was the turnovers. Like, they were able to take the football away, swing momentum of the game. That basically was the swing of the game when they had the turnover and then go 96, 94 yards, whatever it was, for the touchdown drive. So that was huge. I mean, but that it still very much feels like a work in progress with all these young guys there and everything that Anthony Weaver's trying to put together.
Does the win make you feel different about this team? I guess that's what I want to get to with you, Tobin. Like, going into that game, we're kind of all in this state of just apathy where we're just like, yeah, this team's not going anywhere. And then you win the game, but it's the Jets. You know how lousy they looked. And on top of that, you lost Tyreek Hill. So I wonder, what was there any part of that win, now that you've had some time to reflect on it, where you say, hey, you can build on this, and you look at the schedule, there's a possibility you're 500, and then who knows? Like, is any part of you hopeful for that? Who knows?
I think that like I've talked about like the next 4 games, and I think the Dolphins have to go 3-1 in the next 4, get themselves back to 500.
Man. It's possible.
And the thing is, like that's we talk about the Mike McDaniel era and the Tua, like that's kind of the definition of what their era has been. It's been super streaky. They typically beat the teams they're supposed to beat. And then when it comes down to, hey, we've gotten ourselves back out of hell, or we've gotten out of a tough situation, we've kind of steadied the ship, then they have to step up in weight class, and then they disappoint. Well, right now we got to just get them getting back to regular. So it's a tall climb. It's not an impossible climb because you look at the opponents they have, and you look around the league right now, people are dropping like flies. There's injuries all over the place. Like next week, it's the Chargers, I believe, right? So, yes. You got the Chargers right now who looked maybe like a sneaky division champion. Well, they've lost both bookends of their offensive line. They're falling apart as it is too. So, yeah, the Dolphins just lost Tyreek Hill, but I don't think the cupboard is bare on offense if the offensive line can hold up. Is there a scenario where this defense does get it together, and then we set ourselves up for that end of the month Thursday night football game against the Ravens, and the Dolphins are back to 500 and feel okay? Yeah, I could see it because that's kind of what the Mike McDaniel Dolphins have been.
I want to read. I know we're up against it, Tobin, but I want to read you something here that is so good. So going into the Bills game, week 3, the Dolphins had just lost to the Patriots, and I tweeted, "You, an inexperienced Dolphins fan, we're going to lose to Buffalo by 1,000 points." Because remember, everybody's just down about the start of the season, the way you lose to New England, and you're like, "Oh no, short week." But then I add me, a seasoned vet in Finn's torture. The Miami Dolphins will finally win in Buffalo this Thursday, providing a false sense of hope and prolonging the inevitable. And a guy responded to me at Exalt on Twitter. I don't know if you saw this response. And what he said was so spot on, Tobin. He writes, "No, they'll lose Thursday. They'll go to 0-3. We'll think the season's over. Then they'll beat the Jets and they'll beat the Panthers to get back within a game of 500. They'll get our hopes up of getting back into it just in time to dash them again with a loss to the Chargers. But wait, they'll knock off the Browns. They'll knock off the Falcons to get back to 500 and right back in the playoff race just in time for another Thursday night football loss to the Ravens, followed by dropping 2 games under 500 against the Bills. Then an upset against the Commanders and wins against the Saints and Jets will have them 1 game over and needing to win 3 of the last 4 against the Steelers, Bengals, Bucks, and Pats, which they won't quite manage to do, and they'll end up drafting in the low mid-teens again." Exalt, EHXXALT on Twitter, summed up the Mike McDaniel era perfectly, summed up the Chris Greer era perfectly, and so far, Tobin, he's a perfect 4 for 4. I would imagine will be a perfect 5 for 5 after today. This guy wrote the Dolphins script before the season.
We'll take a break. More to get to, including some national reports about the future of Tyreek Hill and where the Dolphins go from here. We'll get to that as Gameday Uncensored rolls on after this.
Hey, we want to hear what you have to say. Text WQAM on the Kendall Toyota text line at 30556. Rewind feature where you can listen to any part of any show you might have missed anytime.
Now, let's get back to Game Day Uncensored. The pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
And welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM as we get you ready for Week 5 of the NFL season. Miami Dolphins getting set for the Carolina Panthers. We do have NFL action underway officially. The Cleveland Browns, we call this the Leroy Horde Bowl. The Cleveland Browns are taking on the Minnesota Vikings in London. And it's scoreless so far. I believe the Vikings just fumbled and the Browns recovered. So that's about to switch things up. But, yep, we got that going on for us here, Solana.
Hey, you ever wonder, Tobin, why games overseas start at 9:30? Like, why that number? Why 9:30 specifically? You have a 1 p.m. slate. You have a 4, sometimes 4:15, sometimes 4:20 slate. And then even the Monday Night Football games, Sunday Night Football games, Thursday Night Football start either at 8, 8:15, 8:20. Why that number specifically, 9:30?
I assume because they want it to be done around the time the 1 o'clock games start.
Right, but don't the 1 o'clock games start at 1? The 4 o'clock games start at 4. So that's a 3-hour difference. Why not 9? Why not 10? Why 9:30? Why at 3:30?
I haven't thought about it that much,
in
to be
London?
honest with you.
Why? I want to know. I want answers, Tobin.
I figured you would have known more because you're like a soccer guy, so you would have figured out whatever the premier, whatever the hell they call it over there, Champions League. Like you guys,
you know, it's for the Premier League.
I don't know which one's which. I really don't know which one's which.
You don't know that in London or in England, it's the Premier League, and that the Champions League is all of the top European clubs. You didn't know that?
I didn't know that. No, I didn't know. I actually was a little nervous because I didn't know which one was which. I didn't know which one was Premier. Sorry. And I didn't know which one was.
Let's
Champions.
just move on. Let's just move.
I'm sorry. Which one was which? I don't know.
I'm sorry I brought this up. This is my fault, everybody. Let's just move on.
No, I didn't know. I'm sorry. My bad. So, like, you're telling me, like, Messi would take on, whatever the best. Who's the best British soccer player right now? Beckham's kid?
Yeah, Beckham's kid. Yeah, you got it.
Don't those brothers hate each other? I keep seeing stuff in the tablet. Isn't there like a beef going on with the family or something like that?
I don't know because I don't even really keep up with like the Beckham stuff. Plus soccer tabloids, like you think NFL tabloids and stuff like that are bad. Soccer tabloids are the worst, man. You don't know what to believe.
Totally fair. What we do know is that Tyreek Hill is going to be done for the season. And this was Mike McDaniel earlier in the week, and this is what he had to say about the pain of losing Tyreek Hill for the Dolphins.
Football is a team sport that, sometimes, it's something that happens to a lot of teams, and you have to be emotionally focused and, find a way. And a lot of times, with guys like that, particularly this offseason where Tyreek has invested so much in his teammates, that you're inspired to, to pick up the slack and make sure that they don't have the double somber moment of the injury, which you can't control, and then have to, have it happen in a loss. You just try to do your best with what you can control, support your teammate, and try to get in the win column.
There you go. Mike McDaniel earlier in the week on the loss of Tyreek Hill. And it is, look, I'm sure that there's going to be a big rallying cry from everybody there in the organization, but there's got to be shock value to it as well. It was good to see that, everybody said this week, the recovery time, especially from his camp, said he'll be back for sure next year. Drew Rosenhaus is saying, week 1 is not out of the question. But then you have he posted this clip of himself walking in the hospital, and a lot of people are saying, hey, he still does have nerve damage. And again, this is all social media doc who's on Twitter. He's like, he's got drop foot, he's got nerve damage. This is probably going to have another surgery. So like expect a long road back for Tyreek Hill. Not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying that the picture painted early on about Drew Rosenhaus, just take it with a grain of salt, because mind you, he's going to try and get his client set up with another team. And then we got the matter of the Dolphins are probably going to cut him for sure by the time we get to the offseason, Solana.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about that. Again, it's a sour way for it to go. Look, Tobin, I genuinely, I'm not trying to play doctor here. And I'm not going to do the thing where I say I'm not playing doctor and then I play doctor. I'm just telling you that watching somebody a week removed from knee surgery when it was as severe as Tyreek, watching them walk is insane to me. I've had ACL surgery. I tore my ACL, I tore my LCL, I tore my PCL. And the idea that I'm walking 5 days after that surgery is genuinely like insane. So I don't want to see that, because you feel like he's just doing something that he shouldn't be doing. That just made me uncomfortable, honestly. But look, the question to me is not if he comes back. Tyreek Hill is going to play in the NFL again. I strongly believe that, right? Like, he wants to be in the NFL. Dude is an ultra competitor. And at this stage in your career, it's almost like a mental thing. You suffer one of these injuries and you want to prove to everybody, hey, I can overcome it. I can overcome this adversity. I can get back to where I was. Alex Smith is a perfect example. This dude literally had an infection in his leg, almost lost his leg. And all he wanted to do is prove I can take snaps again in the NFL. And he made it all the way back. I don't know if he can get back to the level that Tyreek Hill was at in 2023. And that's what I'm intrigued to find out. Whether or not it's with the Dolphins, wherever it is he ends up, I don't know after that injury, north of 30, if he can get back to best player in the league level.
It was interesting, too, because, Drew, by the way, the Browns just went up 6-0 touchdown for them. Drew Rosenhaus put it out there that he does to WSVN that he does want to be back with the Miami Dolphins. Like, that would be the ideal scenario. But I am curious, because we talked about how impressive his run was here, but it always did feel like this was going to be a pretty short-term marriage. And I'm just curious, do you think the Dolphins, I guess it depends how the season goes, but do you think this is a marriage that is going to continue even in the most ideal scenario of him? Let's say he can come back and let's say he could be ready to go next year. Are you interested in seeing what the comeback season is like, or do you feel like the Tyreek Hill flame in Miami is kind of burned out?
Yeah, I think it burned out last year when he quit on the team. And I think he was trying to rekindle the flame a little bit, right? Like throwing some newspaper on the fire and right, trying to spark it again. And look, to his credit, Tyreek Hill showed up to camp, said all the right things. And there was that one little outburst in Indianapolis on the sideline, which the TV cameras caught. Bro, the team was getting rocked. He wasn't getting the ball. He was just showing frustration. That's normal. On the sideline of an NFL game. He said all the right things, and he did all the right things. Even when the team's 0-3, he's hyping them up on Monday Night Football prior to the game coming out of the tunnel. To be fair to Tyreek Hill, he checked all the boxes in this short time frame, in this short sample size of, hey, I'm committed to being here. To be fair, I'm still not over the fact that he quit on the team a year ago, but right, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt where when he was available this year and when he was out there, he came back from injury, he had surgery, he battled back from injury, he did all the right things to be ready for the season, and this dude was ready to go. With that being said, the way I look at it, and I've been transparent about it on this show, and you and I have talked about this before, Tobin. To me, the window is over. It closed already with Tyreek Hill. There was a window. You brought him in 2022. You had a 3-year window, in my opinion, to go win competitive football games. And it looks to me like that window is closed. You're 1-3. I don't think this team is competing for anything this year. And I think next year, I'm expecting a different regime in Miami. It's what I'm expecting at this current moment. And with that being said, I don't think it makes sense to bring that back somebody like Tyreek Hill when you're in a regime change, you're in a state of flux. But who knows? If Jalen Waddle doesn't prove himself over the remaining course of the season, if some of your other weapons don't prove themselves, Tobin, then it's possible there could be a reunion with Tyreek and the Dolphins.
Yeah, it's such an interesting legacy, right? Like we already said that this is probably individually one of the greatest Miami Dolphins seasons we've ever seen. I mean, he broke the record, which has had some prestigious receivers. He's broken the wide receiver record for receiving yards back-to-back seasons. If he doesn't get hurt, maybe gets 2K in 2023. So he's for sure one of the best guys, just individual talents that's ever put on a Dolphins jersey. And certainly over the last 30 years, like it's probably offensively him and Ricky Williams. It's an incredible run that he had. And yeah, like he definitely put a spotlight on the Dolphins, but then like there is the other side of it too, where it's like, you know, he comes here, he gasses up Tua in a good way. Like he's like, hey, this guy is going to be something when Tua really needed that. But then it's also like, yeah, but also the team that he left won the Super Bowl every year that he was there, or was in the Super Bowl every year that he was gone too. So
yeah, but
there's that side of it as well. So it's like he came here and he brought all of the fun to the Miami Dolphins, and it made them decent, but not real contenders.
It is funny. It's true. The Chiefs without him had more success than with him, even though they won the Super Bowl with him. But it's the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, right? Like Patrick Mahomes is making Xavier Worthy look like prime Randy Moss. Like Xavier Worthy comes back and they're all like, oh, okay, we have a weapon. And you're like, no, you have Xavier Worthy, but you've got Patrick Mahomes. So to be fair, Tobin, that is the outlier, is it not? Like you want awesome weapons in the NFL. You want the best weapons in the NFL. But if you have Patrick Mahomes, you don't need the best weapons in the NFL to succeed. You don't think Patrick Mahomes would have loved Tyreek Hill the past couple of years? For sure he would have.
I mean, maybe he would, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, that's the basis of it, though. Like, it's such a conundrum because I would say that the Chiefs probably aren't as exciting as they were with a prime Tyreek Hill and a Patrick Mahomes who was doing no-look throws and bombs down the field and all that. They probably haven't been, which has kind of been defined by a lot of the winners lately. Like, look at the Eagles. They're defined by trenches and, you know, tush pushes. Both of their receivers are miserable. Neither of them want to be there because it's so boring to be excellent. And it's this weird thing as like a sports fan. I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't enjoy Tyreek Hill's era if it is over the Dolphins. It's about the most fun we've had watching them because there hasn't been any winning. It's all relative. It's more fun than the Wildcat. It's more fun than anything Adam Gase did with Jay Ajayi and 200 yards. It's more fun than the best Tannehill season. It is. But it's all resulted in the same. Winning right now has probably never been less sexy as far as watching football. But the Dolphin fan is also just dying to win. And they would probably take that in a heartbeat if it meant please a playoff win. So it is a complex legacy. It's this thing of like, man, we had fun and we got to talk bleep. And then we looked foolish because the Chiefs ended up winning the Super Bowl, but man, we had fun. Yeah. And so yeah. I don't know other than to say, yeah, he's definitely one of the best players I've ever seen put on that uniform. I do think that I thought this era was going to come. I didn't think he was going to play for the Dolphins this year. So it already felt a little bit like it was on borrowed time. And that's okay. I think like it had its moment. It had its window, but I would be surprised if it continued. I think I would be less surprised if they end up moving on to new regimes, depending on who it is. I can see somebody else taking a flyer, but I certainly think with this regime, they're probably done with him.
I think so. Yeah. I feel very comfortable. And I it's unfortunate, but I feel comfortable saying that was the last of Tyreek Hill in a Dolphins jersey.
Now we need to know who's going to step up. Looking at you, Jalen Waddle. We'll take a break. More Game Day Uncensored after this.
this hurricane season. Keep it on 104.3 WQAM for hurricane coverage.
FM and HD1 Miramar, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and WQAM AM Miami, an Odyssey sports station.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
It's another Game Day Uncensored.
The Dolphins have a win, number 1 of the season, and now it's game number 1 without Tyreek Hill, out for the year. The Finns are in Carolina for a 1 p.m. kickoff with the Panthers today. No Tyreek for Tua. Tua says his message to the team is the same now as it was after Hill's injury happened. Just gotta move on.
Collectively, we knew, we needed to step up in general. Regardless of who's in, we feel as if the next man up, and we shouldn't lack the way we play, the style of our play. We shouldn't lack any of that.
Jalen Waddle says now's the time to step up.
It means a lot to the offense, not just going out there and making plays, but just, having him, his spirit, his energy out there, and just his leadership out there. So I think change for the team. We all have to step up. We all got to play for him. And, we all praying for him.
So how will the Dolphins do without Tyreek? But going into today's game following a win? We're going to figure that out on Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans. Tobin, Solana, with Omar Kelly on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
Game Day Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get offers on select models now through September 2nd. Learn more at Lexus.com. By Edmore Sawgrass Buick GMC. Catch massive savings on over 22 acres of new Buick and GMCs at Edmore Sawgrass Buick GMC. Get backed by Morse and visit EdmoreSawgrassBuickGMC.com. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
And welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Brendan Tobin alongside Alejandro Solana as the Miami Dolphins are getting set for Week 5 action against the Carolina Panthers. So we're here for you. We have 1 hour in the books, 3 more to go. Omar Kelly's going to stop by the program. We'll talk to Omar later on. He's boots on the ground in Carolina, so we'll get his thoughts right now. In England, it is 7-7. Browns and Vikings. Vikings just tying it up. Cam Akers with a touchdown. This Kevin O'Connell can make anybody a quarterback. It's incredible. Direct snap to Cam Akers, and he throws a touchdown pass to Josh Oliver, and it is all tied at 7 apiece across the pond. Incredible. Dylan Gabriel's is his first NFL touchdown pass as well. So that's how we get things started off with this game across the pond. Meanwhile, the Dolphins are going to try and get things right this week as they won on Monday Night Football. They'll try and get their second win of the season. And in the meanwhile, by the way, we'll get into to this. Is everybody as captivated by this Mark Sanchez story as I am?
So what was the update yesterday? He got arrested? He ended up getting arrested?
He got arrested in the hospital. Yeah, he got arrested in the hospital for allegedly attacking it appears to be a 69-year-old DoorDash or Uber Eats delivery person. They got in some altercation because now Mark Sanchez hasn't been interviewed, so this is all the police putting out what their statement was. Indianapolis police, this is what they put. Mark Sanchez apparently got into this altercation with a guy, didn't like how the guy was parked, and was going after the guy. The guy apparently tried to pepper spray Mark Sanchez, according to what he told police, and then ends up stabbing Mark Sanchez. So it went from the start of oh man, Mark Sanchez was brutally attacked and something going wrong in downtown downtown Indianapolis. And which, by the way, I was already stunned by the story because when I went to Indianapolis, nothing was open past 8:30. I was like, where did he go? I don't understand that. What do you mean this happened at 12:30?
I forgot you hate Indy. Oh, do you hate Indy, man?
Oh, it's a terrible
I loved it, man. I went to Indy couple times. I enjoyed myself in Indy. And yeah, everything was done by 9 o'clock. So I had to be back at the hotel by 9:15, but I had a great time.
Brittany, have you ever been to Indianapolis?
No.
Yeah, count yourself lucky.
Yeah, I
Consider
don't
yourself
think
lucky.
lucky.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out, Solana, like he was supposed to call a game for Fox. Brady Quinn had to parachute in to go do the game. Like, this is crazy. So I don't know what. Yeah, this is I need more details. I hope Mark Sanchez is okay, by the way. But and the man who got allegedly attacked in this as well, who retaliated with the stabbing. If he did retaliate, that's just what his claim is. But they seem confident in it because there was apparently security footage.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he gets arrested just based off the word of the guy who stabbed him. You know, they're not just going to say, "Oh, okay, you know, we believe you, kind sir." Tobin, I want more info before, you know, I'm definitively saying anything here. I don't want to, you know, get cold taked or whatever. But
right.
I imagine plenty of alcohol was consumed by at least one of the parties in this situation. Probably the one arrested.
Probably. No, yeah, probably. Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Anyway, we'll keep you posted, but if the Jets week didn't get bad enough, their hero Mark Sanchez.
You think the delivery driver brought up the butt fumble?
Maybe.
That's what set him off.
That's what set him off. I don't know. So Dolphins going into this week, Solana. No Tyreek Hill. Has been a theme in our show already. But this is the opportunity. It almost felt like, look, the whole point of signing these two guys at the same time was to lead us to here, where Jalen Waddle was going to take over as the top wide receiver on the Miami Dolphins. So how confident are you that Jalen Waddle can be the guy, step up? And obviously you can't replace Tyreek Hill. You can't just be like, oh yeah, we lost our best player, we'll be fine. But this guy is thought of, and I imagine thinks of himself as one of the best receivers in the league. And I think a lot of people are going to be looking at him to up the production with no Cheetah here.
So I did a little bit of research here, Tobin. I just wanted to look at and there's a large sample size here because Tyreek missed some games. He missed a game in 2023. And then last year, there was some instances of Tyreek not playing or leaving a game early, and then Waddle being the quote-unquote number one receiver. But there's a lot more evidence of Waddle being out with Tyreek being available.
Right.
Just because Waddle's been out significantly more time. But there is one game that I point to here. Week 15, the Jets at home. The Dolphins hosting the Jets at home. They blew them out 30-0. This was the game prior to the Christmas Eve game against Dallas, where Jason Sanders hits the game-winning field goal.
Okay.
In that game, Tyreek Hill does not play following the Tennessee loss. It's the game that kept them probably from 2,000 yards. Dolphins take care of business. Jalen Waddle, 8 receptions on 9 targets, 142 yards, a touchdown. That's without Tyreek Hill. I mean, I'm not saying that has to be the standard. That's a great game, right?
That's a really good game.
That's a really great game. But he proved to you, hey, big game. We had a bad loss against Tennessee. Need a bounce back. Still in a playoff race here. They're trying to hold on to the division lead. Our best player's out. He's on the chase for 2,000. He's out. Guess what? I'm going to step up and I'm going to produce. I'm going to give you a wide receiver one type of game. We haven't seen much of that since then, Tobin, in all fairness. But it's a little shaky because games Tyreek started but then left because of injury and so on and so forth. But he's capable of it because he showed you in a one-game sample size, he's capable of it. The question is, can you rely on him to do that for the rest of the season? That I don't know. And I think it has to do with injury concerns, and it has to do with the fact that, I just think overall this Dolphins offense is set up now to run through Devon Achane, not so much to run through Jalen Waddle.
Well, that is true. I mean, it does feel like, it is leaning more into Devon Achane. There's no doubt about that. And Tua has found a great comfort in him. But look, I do think that he is capable. I mean, the guy did start his career with 3,000-yard seasons, and that's even with 2 of those being with Tyreek Hill. his first rookie season, I mean, he wasn't very explosive that year. It was a lot of possession catches. That offense was kind of bleh as it was. But yeah, I definitely think that he's capable of being good enough to lead the offense. Does it make the offense as dynamic? I don't think so. Because he's not as explosive as Tyreek Hill, but he has a propensity to cause some clutch catches and find those crevices. I do think Tua's maybe got to be a little bit more careful with him over the middle because of his durability issues. But they've kind of found a good comfort zone on those sideline routes, and that's been good to see. But look, this is what he was paid for. I mean, like this is what we were all expecting. Is like, hey, Tyreek Hill, no guaranteed money pass this year. It's eventually gonna be the Jalen Waddle show. Like you drafted this guy very, very high. You drafted him above Penei Sewell. You drafted him above some guys who, you could have looked at as other bedrocks of your organization. No, you went with this guy. And I am very interested to see how he handles that responsibility. I think he can. Because, look, I think Jalen Waddle is one of the most beloved Dolphins. I kind of feel like in some ways he's skated on some regards because all of it falls on Mike McDaniel, Tua, Tyreek Hill. And then it's just kind of and Jalen Waddle's the other guy, but nobody really gets mad at Jalen Waddle. He has the best celebration in the league. He's pretty adorable. He does the fins for the win thing. I love that. And I like bits. So he has two bits that I'll just really I really respect. But I do think that this is going to put a spotlight on him that he hasn't really had in a long time.
He's a good dude, too, by the way. I want to mention this before I kind of torch him. Tobin, he's paid like a number one wide receiver. And I'll ask you, why don't we ever hear him in any sort of conversation with the top wide receivers in the NFL? And yeah. I'm not just saying the Justin Jeffersons and the Jamar Chases of the world. That's another echelon. I'm talking about the Puka Nakuas, the CeeDee Lambs, the Malik Neighbors, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Nico Collins, Brian Thomas, AJ Brown, Drake London. Think about all the guys I'm naming here that nationally would all take those guys over Jalen Waddle. And I don't know. I'm not even hating on him. I'm genuinely asking, Tobin, is it a case of, hey, you're playing next to Tyreek Hill, right? It's the T. Higgins effect. Everybody would rather have Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is better, and he's going to get more targets, and he's going to be more productive because he's Jamar Chase. So I'm T. Higgins. I'm constantly 1B for the rest of my life. Is that why Jalen Waddle is as overlooked as he is outside of the Miami Dolphins?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and that's just it felt, especially the year. I felt like when it was the second year, it felt more like a tandem. And then in year two with Tyreek and Waddle, it just felt like Tyreek Hill's team. It felt like we're leaning into the cheetah. We're going for 2,000 yards. But look, Mike McDaniel's always had a very high opinion of Jalen Waddle. He loves Jalen Waddle. And I think
for sure.
He's I think always imagined before even Tyreek Hill got here, what would this offense be like if Jalen Waddle was the guy? So I do think that he's got the faith in it. It's just a matter of it's been a while. The training wheels have been there for him. This was Tua, who obviously goes way back with Jalen Waddle, all the way back to Alabama. And he says that he has faith that Waddle will step up in Cheetah's absence.
I mean, my first 3 years with him, first time he came to the league, he's been able to have 1,000-yard years, those first 2 years in the league for him. And so it's one of those where we get right back into that. And, Jalen understands the offense a lot better than he did, the first year Mike came here. So I trust that he's going to be where he needs to be. And we've built that chemistry from Alabama all the way till now. But, that doesn't – Jalen knows that doesn't give way to me just always looking for him as the target. We got to go through the progression and see what the defense wants to run now that, 10 is out. Do they still want to stay in the two high deals, or do they now like their matchups to where they can sort of crowd the box now?
Tua's adorable, Tobin, talking about progressions, if he actually gets through all his progressions. When he had already admitted to us, I can't get through all my progressions. I don't know why. I can't get through all of them.
I do appreciate that he got through a press conference this week without any controversies, though.
Well, the carbo loading stuff was interesting, but
I didn't think that was that weird with the carbo loading. I didn't think that was that weird. I mean, like, I appreciate Tua is trying to figure some things out, whatever it is to help with head injuries, whether it's jujitsu or diet. I didn't think that was that weird.
It's not that it was weird. I appreciate it as well. I'm with you. I like the fact that he's doing whatever he can, right? Whatever. But it sounded like somebody who was giving me TikTok bro science that didn't really have a real understanding of what the science behind it was. And he's just like, trust me, bro, carbo load before your next workout. And he wasn't really doing that. But, the reporters are just interested. Oh, you're eating more carbs. Like, why? That's interesting. That's a little nugget here. And he's like, yeah, the water in the brain. Like, he didn't really understand why it is that he was told to do that. And he offered up that info. So I just found that interesting. Like, why offer that up if you don't really understand why you're doing it? Just do it.
Yeah, but I think a lot of these guys get told stuff from nutritionists. Like, I do think that the hydration of the brain, I explained this on the radio show this week, like, as the fight game goes, when a guy has a really bad weight cut and you're dehydrated, like, that's what goes into having a bad weight cut. You're sucking water out of your body to make a fake 155 pounds, and then you're going to balloon up to 175 the next day.
Right.
So if you have a bad weight cut and you really drain your body, a lot of guys become more prone to getting knocked out because they don't have the hydration to the brain. So I kind of dug what he was saying. And also, like, you do box in at a certain point where you're just like, oh, like, because I guess he mentioned something and then people wanted to follow up and he goes, that I actually don't. The Cam Newton stuff, he should know better. That one I actually don't blame him for, because it's like, wait, what do you guys want, a 9-page plan on this, on how I'm doing what my nutritionist told me to do.
That's fair. I'm not even hating. I thought it was really cool that he said that info, but there were parts there where they're like, oh, okay, tell us more. And he's like, water, brain, sits good for me. Like, okay.
It is good for him.
Okay. Thanks, Tua.
Gameday Uncensored is brought to you by the Lexus TX. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. Anthony Weaver this week came out and had some thoughts on Miami Dolphins first-round pick Kenneth Grant, who I don't think exactly has burst onto the scene so far in his first 4 games. So we are at the quarter point of the season. We're going to check in on the Dolphins draft class and what Anthony Weaver had to say on Kenny G and his early season adjustments. We'll take a break. More to come here on Gameday Uncensored after this.
WQAM, broadcasting live from the Edmore Sawgrass Auto Mall Studios. Shop massive savings.
Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored right here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Getting you ready for Dolphins and Panthers. Speaking of the Panthers, I mean, did you see any of what the hell happened yesterday, Solana? This was these last two games between the Panthers and the Lightning. I mean, it was fighting. It just wasn't hockey. Like, these guys were killing each other. Poor Aaron Ekblad. I mean, he got smoked yesterday.
Oh, did he? I didn't get to watch any of the highlights. They won 7-0 though, right?
Oh, yeah. Well,
ass.
The entire game was 4-on-3. It was insane. Like, the entire game was 4-on-3. Bob had like no work. He had like one breakaway save. He was so bored. But what happened was, so AJ Greer, I mean, just really lit them up like a Christmas tree the last game. And their announcer came out and he goes, "This is absolutely disgusting." So basically, the Tampa Bay Lightning call up a bunch of goons who aren't going to make their team. But they're just like, your job here is to go hurt the Panthers. And the first guy who got it was Aaron Ekblad. Aaron Ekblad got checked into the board. The dude who hit him cross-checked him in the face.
Jesus.
And then as soon as Aaron Ekblad was getting up from that, boom, hits him with a huge shot. Aaron Ekblad's basically almost knocked out cold.
I'm looking at it right now.
He killed him. I mean, he absolutely ambushed Aaron Ekblad. And then it just kept happening. Like, they went after Carter Verhaeghe. They cross-checked him. Then Carter Verhaeghe went after them. And then everybody literally fought on the ice. And then at one point, I didn't see this because so much was going on yesterday. This game took 3 hours. I don't know. It was insane. But the craziest thing that even happened yesterday, there were so many ejections in the game. Something got lost in translation, apparently, because Nico Mikkola was kicked out of the game for a game misconduct and then was on the ice for the Panthers, scoring a goal to go up 8-0. Then they had to stop, go back and review and be like, wait a minute, he's kicked out of the game. And they wiped the goal off the board.
Tobin, this is a preseason hockey game, correct?
Yes.
What are we doing? NHL, what are we doing? Why are we scheduling the Panthers and the Lightning 17 times in preseason?
Goldie was saying this yesterday. He goes, I don't think we can do this anymore. I don't think that, because like there's too much bad blood between these two teams. They legitimately hate each other. And man, do their fans hate me? Because all I said yesterday, because good boy Aaron Ekblad was ambushed, was I simply put on Twitter, F the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Of course.
And oh my God, did they? Now, a lot of people applauded me because they feel the same way, as they should. But a lot of Lightning fans were just to cry harder. Your first rivalry. I'm like, hey, I didn't say that what happened to Aaron Ekblad he didn't have coming. I didn't say that it was soft. I didn't say it. All I said was F your team. I don't like them.
As you shouldn't. By the way, it's got to be tough for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They were the darlings, the Florida team that was putting Florida on the map in hockey, and everybody's crediting the Lightning and this dynasty that they've built, and nobody cares about it anymore. Nobody talks about it anymore. They're past their primes, and the Florida Panthers are like the newer, sexier, better version than they ever were. It's got to be tough for them. Got to be very tough.
It does. So anyway, those are the good Panthers. We take on the bad Panthers today, Carolina. And I'm looking to see if we can get like an impact game from Kenneth Grant. You know, it's been tough sledding for that defensive line so far, Solana. And I think they came into this thing. Look, this wasn't a fair scenario to put these rookies in. Their top two picks, Kenneth Grant, Jonas Savaitinaya, come in here, fortify the trenches, be awesome immediately. It's not an easy thing. Christian Wilkins, who ended up being an all-pro $100 million guy, talks about his rookie year, how bad he was, how much confidence he lost. And the Dolphins have been in this position because of the roster management and because of how poor Chris Greer has put together. We haven't even gotten to the Cam Smith thing, which we have to. But, you know, to ask this kid to come in here and be like, hey, dude, come on in here, be Vita Vea immediately, please. Just, you know, go out here, just game wreck, do what you do, baby, be Aaron Donald. It's like, no, that's probably an unfair thing. And then you also have all these guys trying to get to know each other, but it hasn't been a great start so far. Like all the metrics on those two guys have not been impressive. The Dolphins' struggles to stop the run have been documented. And then Jonas Savaiinaia, I mean, like, you know, while they didn't give up a sack last week and it's getting better, you throw them on a new side of the line. They say, hey, you go do this. Go be a killer for it. We traded up for you. Fix it, dude. Let's go. Go out and make it happen. What have you made so far of the rookie class and this quarter pull of the season? Are you worried a little bit? Is it too early to judge? What do you think?
No, I think it's too early to judge. It's totally fair for anybody to sit here and say, oh, I'm a little concerned, you know, like these guys aren't really producing. Bro, it's been 4 games. Last year, through 4 games, tell me how you felt about Chop Robinson. I want everybody to go back and tell me how you felt about Chop Robinson through 4 games. Tobin, there's another guy that we're going to see today, former Dolphin, in Rob Hunt. Tell me how you felt about Rob Hunt through the first 4 games of his NFL career.
I think he's
on
injured reserve.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't know how I missed that. But, I mean, tell me how you felt about these guys through 4 games, right? You're asking them to be an impossible situation, which is, hey, fill holes that the Dolphins need filling in, 0 time to prepare and get acclimated as an NFL pro. So, it's just an impossible situation that they're asked upon, which is this team lacks talent. They're trying to make up for that talent by filling holes with undrafted free agents and guys who might be past their prime and also rookies. It's just not a fair situation. So I'm not happy with Kenneth Grant not necessarily coming in and being as dominant as I expected him to be. And obviously Savaiinaia in that left guard spot is okay right now. You hope it'd be better, but around week 12, I think would be a better spot to really start making any sort of judgment.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I don't feel like I watched these games, and maybe part of it's playing next to Patrick Paul, who's been very good this year. I don't feel like I've watched Jonas Savaiinaia and felt like, oh my God, get this guy off the field. Like, I don't feel that. Whereas you felt that on the right side. You're just like Keon Smith, Brunskill, okay, Cole, like they're literally just trying anybody to work there. So it hasn't been that. I think the Grant one's definitely been noticeable because you're just like, man, not only is this line not making an impact, Zach Sealer's not doing squat outside of like a one drive last week. So I think you're just feeling that one a lot more right now. Which, yeah, you knew like the Dolphins were going to try and find a long-term answer there, and it hasn't gone great. Here was Anthony Weaver earlier in the week. He said, don't give up on Kenneth Grant yet.
The biggest thing for him is just it's a technique and fundamental issue, right? Where he's just had to continue to master those. And really, there isn't a person on defense that should never not constantly be working at that, right? The second you become complacent is the second you're on your way out of this league. So I understand the expectations of a first-round pick. Nobody puts more pressure on that kid than himself. So I try to exercise caution and just let's not judge this kid after 4 games. All right, he's going to be a good player in this league because of his work ethic and his want to. So there's been flashes. It'll be more consistent. Just got to allow that maturation and growth to occur.
And you hope to see that today. But yeah, as you mentioned with Robert Hunt, he tore his bicep in week 2.
I forgot about that. I'm looking at the injury designation now. Had surgery already.
Yeah, they're pretty banged up. They're pretty banged up coming into this game as well. So this, you would hope, like maybe this is a game where he can get off. They don't have their starting running back in Chuba Hubbard. So this could be one of those where maybe it could be a breakout game for Kenneth Grant and get him going a little bit.
I mean, that's the big storyline here, right? Chuba Hubbard being out. I don't know how you feel about Rico Dowdle. I know he had a 1,000-yard season a year ago. And then the other Trevor Etienne, You saw DJ Dallas is on this team, by the way. Speaking of the Miami Hurricanes,
I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, DJ
I know they got
Dallas.
that. I know they got that Tet McMillan, that sick wide receiver from Arizona.
Oh, he's had a pretty solid season too. But Tobin, I feel like the offensive line for Carolina is pretty much the only thing anybody wants to give this team credit for, like having a decent offensive line. Everywhere else, it seems like they're just not good. So you're hoping that if there was a game everybody could eat, including those two rookies, it would be today.
We'll take a break, get into some of the other sounds of the week, as we like to call this segment coming on up, echolocation. A lot of different things going on between Darren Waller and the Miami Dolphins, Mike McDaniel, weird analogies, and more things from Anthony Weaver on some underperforming defenders. We'll get to that coming up next on Game Day Uncensored.
Every Miami Hurricane
football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. It is Game Day Uncensored. Get you ready for Week 5, Dolphins at Carolina, as the Dolphins will look to get their second win of the season, coming off a win against the New York Jets. Currently, right now, across the pond, it is 7-7, tied up between the Minnesota Vikings and the Cleveland Browns.
Oof, that's a tough one, man. Carson Wentz versus Dylan Gabriel.
Yep.
Eesh.
Myles Garrett, they're showing him right now. You think he's thinking to himself, he goes, maybe I should have stuck to that whole trade request thing. They did give me a lot of money, but man, I hate it here.
This should be considered like an act of war on behalf of the United States, sending Carson Wentz and Dylan Gabriel to start. That's what's representing the United States professional sports league in London. Here, Carson Wentz and Dylan Gabriel. Have fun, England. Enjoy it.
Yeah, it's not enjoyable. It's not. Carson Wentz nearly sacked. He's short of the sticks. About 3 minutes left in the first half there. But it's that time of the show where we go around some of the best sound bites of the week. Maybe they don't deserve their own segment, but together they are strong. We refer to this as echolocation.
It's time for echolocation.
That is how Dolphins communicate.
It's okay to be called out as long as you change your behavior.
What's 1,000 yards if it's not like a winning season?
They talk, we do.
Echolocation.
Send it in.
Listen, Bradley Chubb, we talk, we also do. All right, what we're going to do here is we're going to listen to your long-winded head coach explain how he's not worried about the young players on this team. Here's Mike McDaniel.
You bring new players in that aren't familiar with what you're asking them to do. It's like learning how to tie your shoes. Okay, young players. There's a point where they know exactly what to do. Like when you first learn how to tie your shoes, and you have like the little bunny ear saying in your head, and then there's some point where the reps occur where it just clicks, where you're not saying the saying anymore, and you're able to. That's what a player needs to do when you're playing 1 of 11 in convicted technique and fundamentals. And so the expectation is that it's not avoiding that. It's making sure that there is consistent growth from those players and that they're getting better, whether that be within a game or from week to week.
What?
Why do you do this to me, Tobin?
Because, bro, I'm like somebody else. If I have to listen to it, other people have to listen to it too. I'm not going to sit here and be alone and listening to. Did everybody just hear what he just said, where he just like tried to make a bunny ears reference and then just completely gave up in the middle of it?
Gave up. But you know what? I applaud him for finally just saying, you know what? I don't need another 3 minutes to try to figure out where I'm going with this. Let me just end it here. Doesn't matter.
This makes no sense, and I make no sense. And sorry, I tried. I knew where he was trying to go. He just knew that he got caught up, and he was just like, I blew this one.
He took the out. He took the out. I can respect that. I can respect that from McDaniel. He just took the out. Okay, this is a good place to exit off this highway leading nowhere.
Brittany used the bunny ears method when it came to tying your shoes.
No, I'm a tree. It's like the tree wrap around the tree one.
Nope,
not the 2 bunny ears.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
No, I've never heard that.
I think it's like a bunny. It's like a bunny ear, and then it's like you wrap around the tree trunk.
Oh, it goes around the tree under the hole, something like that. Is that all? So so bunny ears has a spinoff.
Yeah, like people do. You do 2 bunny ears. I only do 1.
I didn't do the bunny ears. No, but I think that's referred to as the old what is it? The Big Daddy loop, swoop, and pull.
I've never heard that.
Man, I don't know. I don't recall naming my tying of shoes methods. You're not even going to need to do it later on. Kids are going to be able to basically just go into their shoes and they'll do it themselves.
Just
Robots will do it.
Press a button.
Yep.
It'll be done. Back to the Future style. Tobin, I don't ever remember learning a song to tie a shoe, learning bunny ears method. Like, I know what it is, but I just learned how to tie my shoe, bro. Figured what's Mike McDaniel talking about here?
No idea. Not sure. Anyway, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the show. Tua Tagovailoa revealed that he's got a new diet. Here's what Tua's up to.
What's new with how you approach game day?
Just carbing up more for the games, and then getting more fluids in. Yes, so.
How does all that help?
Well, I think it definitely helps with just the aspect of the brain. I guess everyone would be wondering, how did I feel on that hit and whatnot? Felt perfectly fine, felt great. And, throughout the years that was one of the bigger things we hadn't addressed, was making sure that I got, a good amount of carbs in my body. And, so that as I drank water or as I drank the right stuff or whatever it was, that it stay in. And the doctors are talking about the liquid that your brain sits in and all of that. And so that was just the biggest aspect of all of that.
Why carbs? Why carbs?
Well, yeah, you'd probably think it'd make you heavier or slow you down in a way, for sure. But I guess for me, from what I come to know or come to understand from what the doctors were talking about, is your brain kind of sits in fluids, and if I'm eating eggs, bacon, and sausage, and there's not much carbs, like if there's no bread or whatnot, you kind of drink water and it'll just flush out of you, so you can't stay hydrated that way. But the carbs kind of help soak that in and stay there.
All right, there you go.
It's interesting, and I did a deep dive into this, Tobin. I genuinely was fascinated. Not hating on Tua.
Yep.
I know some people took that angle, but I was reading complex carbs, great for brain health, cognitive function, and recovery. And it does make sense with what he's saying. If you are simply hydrating with water or with fluids, the second you step out on the field, the humidity, you sweat that out, you'll be dehydrated. But if you hydrate with carbs, those will stay in your system longer, leading to better health in the brain, I guess. I get what he's saying. It just took a while for him to get to the explanation.
I honestly thought the most interesting thing was when he talked about the hit that he took, because we haven't talked about that. I was terrified. I was like, oh my God. When he took that hit, I was like, oh no.
That was a dirty-ass hit, though. That was a dirty-ass hit.
From Kiko Maui Noah.
Yeah, a dirty-ass hit.
It was. I mean, he maybe slid a little late, but either way, I was terrified. In the moment, I was like, oh no. He got up smiling because I think he knew. He's like, oh, I got away with one there. Because I genuinely thought, like, oh no, Tua is cooked. As soon as it was happening in the moment, I was terrified. Brittany, you agree? You were terrified? I feel I see you nodding along.
I was so scared. Every time he runs, I tense, my whole body tenses up, and I'm just like, please, oh, please, oh, please, please.
But he said he was good. He said the hit everybody wants to know about. I was good because he ate a bowl of fettuccine Alfredo right before the game. Good for
excellent. By the way, speaking of quarterbacks, it looks like Carson Wentz. They are nearing the half, so he might have just gone anyway. But he looks like he's hurt. So
who's the backup to the backup in Minnesota?
They showed some guy named Brosmer. I have no idea who he is. Number 12 on the Vikings. They just showed him on the sideline.
Max Brosmer.
I have no idea who is that. Is he a rookie? Been around?
Max Brosmer. Yeah, rookie.
Tim Boyle's cousin? No idea. Darren Waller. He, of course, had a nice return game. One of the feel-good stories so far this season of the Dolphins, when we all thought this was going to be a big joke. But he's laughing now. He said it felt good to show that he's got something in the tank. Here's Darren Waller.
Yeah, I think naturally it's human to have some uncertainty, having not just been in the line of fire with the bullets flying at full speed. So yeah, it feels good to get back in the mix and know that I'm still capable of contributing and being one of the guys on offense that the team can lean on.
Truly stunning. I had no faith this was going to happen.
Incredible. Good for bro. Toby, good for him, man. Good for him. We got to eat it. We got to eat this one. Everybody does. That was a special debut from Waller.
It was really impressive. Very, very impressive. And finally here, Anthony Weaver, some questions about Chop Robinson's production thus far. And he had some insight into that as to why he's not getting more snaps. People question the snap count for Chop Robinson. This is what we've had to say on that.
Yeah, I think Chop's gone out there and played well in his opportunities. There's a couple snaps in the Buffalo game when he was nursing the knee. Right, he hurt his knee in New England. You definitely tell it affected him on the short week. But last week, I thought he was great. We can't lose him in the fold just because of what's happening in the game. We got to make sure he's out there because he's going to be impactful and be disruptive for us.
There you go. Yeah, he was explaining also that they got a new outside linebacker coach. That was because the one that was the one that got into controversy, right? I think.
Yeah.
Crow.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I think the charges were dropped on that, but he's still away from the team. But I guess the new guy maybe doesn't have the rotations down as tight when it comes to this pass rushing core. So Weaver was kind of given some responsibility to that as to why maybe we haven't seen as much of Chop Robinson this year as well. So something to keep an eye on going into this week against the Panthers. How much chop we see. Now, one guy we're not going to see anymore, Cam Smith. His Dolphins career has come to an unceremonious end. And also, Mike McDaniel asked about a potential old friend coming to help the Finns. We'll get to that as Game Day Uncensored rolls on after this.
The Dolphins are back on the road this week for a 1 p.m. with their one game winning streak, are in Carolina today to take on the Panthers, looking to make it 2 wins in a row. The Finns are banged up, and the biggest bang is Tyreek Hill, out for the year. Mike McDaniel sums it up this way.
Every team has the same situation going on, different cadence. Everybody has injuries. No one cares about who you don't have, and so it's the team playing football together.
Darren Waller, who saw game action for the first time last week, talks about what the Dolphins need to do to move forward without Tyreek.
The guys just stepping up in whatever their role is. I feel like there's going to be a lot of guys in the receiver room that are going to have more opportunities to make plays, and I have faith in them, especially from what I've seen over camp and through these first few weeks. And football is a game and a business where you got to move forward. And I feel like we got guys that can move forward and allow us to continue to have balance in this thing and continue to build.
We'll see what the Dolphins can put together today. Time to talk about it. This is Gameday Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans. Tobin, Solana, with Omar Kelly on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
Gameday Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get offers on select models now through September 2nd. Learn more at Lexus.com. By Edmore Sawgrass Buick GMC. Catch massive savings on over 22 acres of new Buick and GMCs at Edmore Sawgrass Buick GMC. Get backed by Morse and visit EdmoreSawgrassBuickGMC.com. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
And welcome back, everybody. It is hour 3 here of Gameday Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM as your Miami Dolphins are getting set to take on the Carolina Panthers. Both of these teams coming in with 1 win on the year. The Panthers, a 30-0 win over the Falcons earlier in the season. Dolphins back out on the road after a primetime win wearing those Dark Waters rivalry jerseys, which, by the way, I did think looked cool. They're not blue, but I did like them. I did like the way that they look, Salon. I thought they were a nice touch. I thought they vibed with the night game. So I was happy with what the Dolphins uniforms came out looking like. Just don't lie to me and tell me their color they're not. That's that. You're muted, buddy. We got him. Now you're situated. You good?
It's not showing. It's not showing like I'm muted, but I thought the vibe was cool, Tobin, and I thought there was like an aura around the stadium, despite you entering with that awful record. And I thought the uniforms, the end zones, everything about like that on Monday Night Football was cool. But I like that type of stuff. Like I buy into the jersey stuff. I buy into the props that teams put out there. So I thought it was cool.
I enjoyed it. The Dolphins are getting set to go today, but we have to say goodbye to an old friend whose run came to an end this week. In the midst of all the Tyreek Hill news and drama, the Dolphins made a little announcement this week, and that was that they have waived Cam Smith, former second-round pick. His era officially comes to an end. This was Mike McDaniel on them letting go of Smith.
So I wanted to ask you about why the decision from you guys to part ways with Cam Smith now as opposed to waiting it out longer with him on NFI.
Yeah, as far as the details and the particulars of NFI, I'm not going to get into that. Realistically, it was just the best thing for the Dolphins. And I think it's also the best thing for Cam. So unfortunate you don't see it going out that way, but we also live in a team sport, and we got to do what's best for the team.
Oh, he's not going to join the practice squad.
No.
How would you categorize his time?
Time. There's a lot that goes into that. I think hopefully it's a bedrock of what his future holds. I wish him the best, but it didn't play out the way you see it when you invest like that in a player. But that's part of the league and the process. And you got to do what's best for the team.
There you go. Mike McDaniel this week, characterizing his time as time.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. That is a very frustrated head coach. Tobin, they're not even putting him on the practice squad. So it gives you an idea of, this guy just no bueno. Not a good NFL player, not a good football player, not a good steward within the organization. They just don't like Cam Smith. It didn't work with two defensive coordinators and a head coach.
And every cornerback going down, every cornerback known to man not being on the roster. Like, they were just like, you want to talk about opportunity. You're just like, hey, it's right here for you, dude. Do you want it? And obviously, we don't know what the whole non-football illness. I don't know what the hell happened there. So, I mean, I'm sure one day details will come out on what exactly went down and why this didn't work out. But it just seemed like, the guy just didn't handle himself like a professional athlete. Like, obviously had a lot of talent. That's why you get intrigued and you draft a guy so high. But I mean, it already felt coming into the season they were rats off a ship. I mean, when Chris Greer is saying, hey, we're not going to hold his hand anymore. And he's playing at it's a lot. He was playing at the end of the third preseason game. Like, you're basically, you're already cooked if that's the case.
We knew it coming into this year. This guy had no chance. The fact that he even made the roster was, I think, surprising to a lot of people. Tobin, this guy got beat out by Ethan Bonner 3 straight seasons. And let's not forget, Vic Fangio, look, as much as I have my issues with Vic Fangio, vindicated, because we're all like, what the hell? Why doesn't Vic Fangio trust Cam Smith? Why don't you play your second-round pick, Vic Fangio? Hey, old guy. Hey, geezer. Throw Cam Smith in the game once in a while. And here we are 3 seasons later, and we're like, maybe the old man had it right from the beginning. This guy's not an NFL-type player.
I love this week, by the way, Vic Fangio coming out, and he's coming for all the kickers, just saying they're all cheaters. He's just like, he goes, live ball era, what they're doing something. He goes, they're doing something to these balls. He goes, the guy in Dallas is going to hit a 70-yarder. It's all ridiculous. There's just something not on the up and up here.
I mean, he's got a point, because I saw he said, how is it possible that from one year to the next it's drastically been different? Like, what's happening here where for 100 years it's been one way, 1 year to the next it's drastically different? He's not wrong.
Yeah, I was listening to Florio on Joe, and he was saying that I guess the regulations have changed again on how long they're allowed to have the balls. Now, Leroy said back in the day they were allowed to do this, but then I think somewhere along the way it changed, and they were limited on how much they were allowed to have the kicking balls, and now I guess it's kind of a free-for-all. They're allowed to do whatever they want with them, but even still, it feels like something's going on there. I don't know, dude. Well, but the thing that like really raised a red flag is this past week the Dolphins are playing the Jets, and I can't believe Nick Folk is still on their team. I was like, wait, that Nick Folk is kicking for the Jets, and he hit damn near a 60-yarder, and you're like, wait, he's not of that era of kicker. That's not it. Nick Folk, I think 50 yards he's stretching it, but he's a king of a 45-yarder. Like Nick Folk is solid, old school 2010s kicker. What the hell is this guy is doing? He's draining 60-yarders all of a sudden.
Tobin, Nick Folk was 60 years old in 2010. How is this guy still out there? Like, when I think of Nick Folk, I think of Dan Carpenter kicking 50-yarders for the Dolphins, missing 50-yarders for the Dolphins. Remember when somebody would hit a 50-yard field goal and you'd be like, oh my God, 50 yards. Bro, they're hitting 60s regularly now in the NFL. If you can't hit a 54-yarder, you can't kick in this league anymore.
No, you're a fossil. It's crazy. It's crazy what's going on with that. The other thing that Mike McDaniel was asked about also by Barry Jackson this week, which played off a suggestion that I merely asked a couple of weeks ago. I was just like, "Hey, what's this guy doing?" And I was just like, I asked this genuinely curious because I don't know what's going on. Now, here's the exchange where Barry Jackson asked Mike McDaniel, "You ever think about calling up an old friend to help with this D-line?"
Some of the glory years of the Dolphins defensive line this decade featured Zach playing alongside Christian Wilkins. Have you or Chris or anyone from the team reached out to Christian or his agent to see if he's healthy, see if there could be a possible fit, bring him in?
There's doors are always open. Very happy with the progression of what we need from our young guys, and I'm focused on the Panthers and our own guys specifically. But Chris is always at work, and there's never anything that's closed. But for me, I'm better suited for Panthers and our own player topics.
Well, that's not no. And I'm just like Solana. I asked this, kind of tongue in cheek a couple of weeks ago, but I genuinely am also wondering, like, the Dolphins have Darren Waller out there catching touchdowns. I don't know what's going on with Christian Wilkins because we had this huge scandal that just hit in the middle of the summer where they were just like, "Hey, we're moving on from him." And we're like, "That's kind of weird." Yeah, we don't like his the way he's gone about his surgery. It's like, okay, well, not the first time that's happened in sports. Also, there was some incident with a teammate. The teammate apparently went to human resources about it.
Yep.
And they were just like, "All right, we're moving on." And Christian Wilkins hasn't really had any say in it, I think, at all. And we haven't heard squat from him. I don't know if he's healthy, but I'm asking if he is. Why haven't the Dolphins called? Like, what? Like, why would you not put him next to, unless you're just really worried about stunting the development of Kenneth Grant?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
But, dude, I mean, like, he's played next to Zach Sealer. Yes, not in this system necessarily, but you need all the help you can get. And you've already gone to unorthodox places for it. If he is available to play, I don't understand why they wouldn't go down this route.
Well, we don't know if he is, right? Like, you point that out.
No idea.
We genuinely have no idea. So it could be that simple. But Tobin, you're bringing, this is supposed to be the soft reset year. Haven't we figured that out already?
Yeah.
You draft Kenneth Grant. You want him to be that run stopper. Admittedly, he hasn't been great. We talked about it earlier. He hasn't been great. And the Dolphins are getting gashed right up the middle, day in, day out. Christian Wilkins helps, but you're taking away from the development of your first round pick, who they think, by the way, is going to develop over the next couple of weeks and get significantly better towards the end of the season. So I understand the idea of, like, hey, we got Matthew Judon. Our front seven's supposed to be great regardless, and we need Kenneth Grant to pan out. We need him and Zach Sealer, who we just invested a ton of money in, to be good together on the interior of that defensive line. Like, I understand that philosophy from the Dolphins.
I don't understand it. Like, it's a silly philosophy.
What do you mean?
No, it's a silly philosophy. Like, if and again, I'm doing this all on the preface of if he could play, because I don't know. I don't know if he needs foot surgery or if he's not healthy, if he's filing a grievance. I don't know. But I'm just saying this. Let's say today Christian Wilkins said, "I want to play football." The Dolphins make all the sense in the world. He literally is best friends and the godparent of your highest paid defender of his child. He is not Zach Sealer's godparent, but he is the godparent of Zach Sealer's baby. And I just don't understand why they wouldn't. And not only that, if anybody is a great person to lean on to learn, Kenneth Grant should be all ears being around Christian Wilkins. Like, I don't know if that is in any way a possibility. The only things that outside of health that would be a problem, because I don't know about the incident. I don't really care about that. All we've heard about Christian Wilkins in his time with the Dolphins was A+ dude. Like, none of that Dolphin stuff. And I got to be honest with you, I'm going to go with his character as a guy since he's been around the Dolphins more so than the Raiders. So, the team that literally has, like, in their history had more weird breakups than any other team maybe known to man. So I'm going to give him some benefit of the doubt there. I'm going to put that aside. If he can go and he can be brought into the Dolphins, yeah, I think it makes too much sense if he's able to go. I mean, unless he's like, one, got bad blood towards Chris Grier just because he never got a deal, or two, he's waiting to latch onto a contender so he could really, produce on maybe the big stage.
Yeah, but wasn't Chris Grier asked about Wilkins, and he's like, we're checking every box there. Like he remember he was asked about it before the season, and he didn't downplay.
Maybe so.
He didn't downplay the idea of going after him. It sounded to me like Chris Grier was all ears to go sign Christian Wilkins. Tobin, you're downplaying the development of Kenneth Grant, and you're like, oh, I mean, who better to learn behind than Christian Wilkins? Well, how about getting reps on the field? That to me is better than learning.
How's that going?
Okay, but it's only going to get better. I mean, it's not going to get better if he's on the sideline. It's going to get better if he's on the sideline. Like, I'd rather. I'm not saying no to Christian Wilkins. I'm just saying I don't hate the idea of the Dolphins saying, okay, I'd rather develop our first round pick, who we took in a pretty high situation, rather than go get a veteran who's coming off a major injury and hasn't played since early last season.
What do you got to lose? What are we sitting here? Like, what are we protecting? We're 1-3.
What do we got to lose?
We're 1-3.
The development of your young guy. That's what you have to lose.
Get out of here.
Oh, okay. Christian Wilkins is a difference between you being 1-3 and you being 3-1.
I don't know.
Get out of here.
I don't know. They can't stop the run. I don't know. Maybe get a guy who's been an a Pro Bowler. Yeah, I think that could help a little bit.
You're telling me Christian Wilkins, who for sure would have grabbed Josh Allen's junk in that game, maybe that's the difference between a touchdown or not. I don't know. You're telling me the Dolphins are 3-1 with Christian Wilkins?
For sure, 2-2.
Come on, man. What are you talking about here? He hasn't played. You don't even know if he's healthy. He could literally, his leg could have been amputated, and you have no idea. You have no idea. And you're saying the Dolphins, he's the difference between the Dolphins being 1-3 and being maybe 500. I mean, get out of here.
Can we get an answer? Like, can somebody find Christian Wilkins?
How about Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips? Get to the quarterback.
Can anybody ask? Like, is that in poor taste? Like, can one of like the local reporters here reach out to him and be like, "Hey, what's up with Christian Wilkins?" Like, but genuinely though, there could be bad blood. Like, I know Chris Grier says all things are open, but like we saw with Xavier Howard, he very clearly didn't want to come back to the Dolphins, right? Like, there was which, by the way, happy retirement to Xavier Howard, who called it a career. He came back for one thing and one thing only. That was to kick the Dolphins' ass. He did that. He left, retired.
Yep.
Happy retirement to Xavier Howard. He deserves it. But like, it's like, I'm going to come out of retirement for one game. Who do the Dolphins play? Colts. I'm signing with them.
Signing with Indy.
Insane, dude.
All right. Just to kind of wrap this up, by the way, Tobin. I want to be very clear here. I love Christian Wilkins. I could see him having bad blood. He came in, wanted the contract extension, probably earned it. They didn't give it to him, and he said, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to come back. I'm going to show you guys that even though I'm on a contract year, I'm going to ball. And he did that, and it seems like he still got lowballed a little bit by Chris Grier. So I can understand the bad blood.
That definitely could be a thing. That's for sure. There could be harsh feelings there. And if that's the case, then I guess they're bleep out of luck when it comes to that. But if you're telling me that adding him to this team, at the expense of developing Kenneth Grant, I think it's going to be good for Kenneth Grant's development if they brought him in. Zach Sieler would be so happy. Salt and pepper back together. Take a break. More to come here as we get ready for this Week 5 matchup. We're back after this on Gameday Uncensored.
WQAM, broadcasting live from the Ed Moore Sawgrass Auto Mall Studios. Shop massive savings on a massive Chevy inventory, all backed by Morse at Ed Moore Sawgrass.
Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
And welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Miami Dolphins getting set to take on the Carolina Panthers. Let's get to some keys to the game brought to you by Edmore Sawgrass Auto Mall. Shop exceptional Cadillac offers now at the 3-time Cadillac Dealer of the Year, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Visit EdmoreSawgrassCadillac.com. You're always backed by Morse. Panthers come into this thing 1-3. You know the Panthers head coach?
Dave Canales.
Yeah, dude. Dave Canales. Dan Morgan, former Miami Hurricanes legend. He is their general manager. They got one win this year against the Falcons, and that's it. They don't have Chuba Hubbard. Not great.
Not good for them.
They don't have Tershawn Wharton, who has one of their 2 sacks this year.
They're the worst pass rush, the worst pass rush in the NFL.
Yep. So that is definitely something to keep an eye on for the Dolphins. Could be a night where Tua – look, if the Dolphins he didn't get sacked last week, but if the Dolphins give up some pressure on Tua this week, there's a problem.
There's a big problem.
This is not an intimidating front that the Dolphins are going up against. They do have a good cornerback in J.C. Horn. He's got one of the sickest interceptions you'll ever see this year. So you got to keep that in mind. Hunter Renfrow, he's still kicking around. He is back out of retirement. They love him there.
It's like their favorite white wide receiver in Carolina Panthers history. Just keep bringing back Hunter Renfrow, and there's something magical will happen. Here's a problem. Tobin, I've tried to defend Bryce Young for a couple of years now. I've tried. Mm-hmm. Hey, let's not punt on a guy so early. Look at Tua, right? Like everybody was out on Tua after his rookie season, his second season, and in his third season, he had a great year. Like let's not do that. But I think I'm done with Bryce Young. I think I've gotten to the point where I'm done with him. I've been keeping a close eye on the Panthers, specifically Bryce Young now throughout the entire season. The 30-0 win over the Falcons, surface level, you're like, impressive. Okay, like this team might have something. The Falcons gave that game away. It just gave the game away. There was really nothing Bryce Young did that was extraordinary. He doesn't put up numbers until the team is out of the game in the fourth quarter, and then he just kind of pads his stats. Tannehill used to get accused of doing that back in the day as well. Bryce Young, a lot of his games are just wildly unimpressive until the fourth quarter, where he'll throw a touchdown, his team's 3 or 4 scores out of it, he'll put up 100 yards receiving because they just have to throw the ball. He doesn't have many impressive qualities as a quarterback. It's wild because they traded up for him.
Mm-hmm.
And for the second straight year, Andy Dalton's probably the best quarterback on that team.
Yeah, and I think most of his stats came in that Cardinals game this year. Like like the overwhelming majority of his numbers. He had like a 300-yard passing game. He threw it like 50 times. That class, that quarterback. I mean, people talk about 2020, pretty good class. You know, maybe Tua's on the rear end of it right now, but all those guys are pretty. Like this class right now. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, who came out like gangbusters his first season, like just looked unbelievable. You see this quote that he had this week where he's like, I miss how athletic I used to be. I'm like, he's 23. Like, what are we talking about? Anthony Richardson, pull the plug on that. Will Levis. Like that's that 2023 class is looking a little skunky right now. Not too good. But yeah, Bryce Young, like ideally there are like 2 things that you want from him, right? Like he's going to get rid of the ball quick, deliver the ball all over the place. Not very big. Like there's just not a lot of stuff that stands out about him. But I do think like if he can get guys open, like there are things. I think that's why they kind of vibe together. Like there was a lot of respect mutually between each other this week. Both Alabama guys, both maybe a little bit undersized, not the most mobile guys in the world. But even Tua's got like, you know, typically at his best, I think you could say like, hey, this guy is, you know, has got some elite qualities. even if he's not an elite quarterback. Bryce Young, I don't know if he's got any of that. I think right now it looks like if this doesn't turn around for him this year, I gotta imagine they're gonna move on. They're certainly not gonna extend him.
No shot. And it's I mean, I guess you never know. Remember when the Dolphins played this team at home in 2023 and all of a sudden they're down like 14-0 and you're like, oh, well, what's going on here? I don't remember exactly what it was, but they were down early in that game, Tobin, and it might have been double digits.
Are we chalking this one up too much though? Like, because look,
yes. Oh no, 100% we are 100%.
Yeah, because it's like because here's the thing. I do feel like a lot of the heat on Mike McDaniel very much eased over the last couple of days, or the last couple of weeks. Teams playing hard for him. I think he's called good games. But if the Dolphins drop to 1-4 today and they lose to this team, he's back to square one as far as like all of the pressure on him. Like I think probably Callahan. I don't even looked at the odds lately for first coach fired. I would imagine Callahan in Tennessee's got to be number one right now, just because of where he's already given up his play calling. He's getting snippy with reporters. Like it's getting bad in Tennessee. But if the Dolphins, it was a one possession game. They did take out on a very undisciplined, mistake filled Jets game. I'm not taking anything away from them, but I don't know. Are they in a position where we could say, yeah, they chalk this one up? The Dolphins should definitely win.
Absolutely not. And I go back to you kind of downplayed it. I thought it was a bigger deal than you did to start the show. As bad as the Jets were, you won by one score. And look, say what you will. The Jets hung around. The Dolphins dominated that game. I think that's fair. But the Dolphins also punched a ball out on the 1 yard line. If the Jets score that touchdown, who knows? It's a totally different ball game. And I hate doing the what ifs because, look, it happened. Credit Jack Jones, credit the defense. But the Dolphins didn't look like a wildly superior team over the New York Jets, who looked awful, who looked like the worst team in the NFL. They have not solidified themselves to be a team you can trust and just say, oh, they're going to go play the Panthers. Panthers aren't very good. Yeah, that's a win for the Dolphins. Tobin, the Carolina Panthers are saying Dolphins haven't looked very good. That's a winnable game. Bryce Young saying that's a defense I can probably go and put numbers up and build some confidence. I mean, this is not a team. I think they win today. Don't get me wrong. I think they're more talented than Carolina, but there's no guaranteed wins when you're doing win or loss with the Dolphins schedule. There's just not.
Did you see this? This is a delightful story this week. It's also kind of sad. I could feel this story just because there was a thing that went viral this week on Bleacher Report and the other sports blogs. The Meow Mix podcast, a fan podcast.
What a great name.
A Carolina Panthers fan podcast. No hate. Love the fan podcasts out there. They have taken a hiatus because they can't talk Panthers anymore. Mm-hmm. They're just done. They needed to step away. They needed time with their families. A lot of these fans, this is what they do. They do it for the love of broadcast. People ask us all the time, how do you get into broadcast? I'm like, look, in this day and age, just go broadcast. Just find your voice digitally. You don't need it. Like when I was coming up in radio, you needed to find a studio to get a good mic. You needed to do fake segments. You don't need to do that anymore. You sound just as good from your garage as you do at a studio, pretty much. This story made me terribly sad that these guys are just like, I can't do it anymore. I can't talk about the Carolina Panthers and where they're at right now.
It's a funny story, but Tobin, no joke. As Dolphins fans, we feel like we've been beaten, we've been battered. 25 years, no playoff wins. But there are organizations who, in like the last 7 to 8 years, have probably endured more torture than the Dolphins, as bad as it's been. And I think the Panthers take the cake. Just think about it. They had Cam Newton. They go to the Super Bowl. Fun. Awesome. Yep. Great season. Awesome season. Okay, since then, they have been awful. They traded up for Bryce Young and missed out on C.J. Stroud. They had Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold on their team and decided, you know what? neither of those guys are good. Like, think about that. Not only did the execs decide 2 quarterbacks who would end up being playoff caliber quarterbacks weren't good enough and they couldn't evaluate the talent within their own building, they decided it's Bryce Young we have to go after, not CJ Stroud. They whiffed on 3 different guys, and now they're in a worse position than the Dolphins because they traded all their draft capital to go get him.
Remember there was a story about their owner. Their owner's a kook too, because the owner apparently got into a beef with like a diner owner.
Yeah.
because of a sign on the outside. A legit crazy person. But the Meow Mix podcast says, we've decided enough is enough, and we're going on hiatus till the end of the year. Man, bless those guys, dude.
But there was something about they can't justify it to their wives anymore.
It's a heartbreaking thing. It's a heartbreaking thing when, like, you know, like I can genuinely tell you as somebody who's like, this is what I do for a living. So I can tell my wife at any point, hey, I have to watch. Like, if the Hurricanes game wasn't going on last night, did I have to watch Heat Magic 2? Probably not, dude.
No.
Probably not. Especially, it was pretty much over of anything of interest after the first quarter. It really was. Drew Smith, though, look, incredible. Miracle comeback. I don't think enough people are talking about it.
A lot of fun.
That's a hard thing. Like, you do this for the love of the game, or you just love it. Maybe you don't even like want to make a living. People just want to do it because they want to talk Panthers with their friend.
We're
and
sickos.
they're so
We're sickos.
bad.
We're sickos. That's what it is. Like,
Yeah.
I need to know about Ethan Thompson's game in Puerto Rico. I need to know whether or not, Jonah Savaiinaya, what his PFF rating is going to be. Like, we're sickos. We live off this stuff.
Crazy, dude. Well, shout out to the Meow Mix podcast. I mean, I don't wish you happiness today. I wish that you are right in your decision and the Dolphins win, but respect to the game, dude. We'll take a break. Actives and actives are out. We'll get to those, including one that's a bit of a surprise, not a surprise. We'll see with one of these decisions. We'll get to that coming up on Game Day Uncensored after this.
This hurricane season, keep it on 104.3 WQAM for hurricane coverage as we part.
Get back to Game Day Uncensored. The pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
And welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Omar Kelly going to join us in about 15 minutes. We'll talk to Omar about all things Fins coming on up. But first, got to get to our actives and actives, which is brought to you by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business, a 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road in Margate. Solana, the actives and actives are out. The big noticeable one on the inactive side of things, because you got Storm Duck. We knew that. Zeke Biggers, not a surprise. He's been inactive for most of the season. Quinn Ewers, your emergency third quarterback. And the Dolphins brought back Cedric Wilson. We haven't mentioned this week. The Dolphins brought back Cedric Wilson, who, of course, isn't healthy. Like, that's just,
of course.
Like, what are we
coming
doing?
off a surgery, and Chris Greer decides, perfect. Bring you right in. Yeah.
The one name that stands out here on the inactives, though, Jalen Wright, inactive for the Miami Dolphins. So his sophomore season of adversity continues, as a lot of people were excited about what he was going to bring to the table. Haven't really gotten much from him.
The first thing I think of when I see this, though, is, okay, you've got Devon Achane and Ollie Gordon as your only two active running backs, Tobin.
Yep.
So we know Tua's not running the ball. So what does this mean? I mean, you can point to Alec Ingold if you want, and maybe he'll help in some of the short yardage situations, but we know Ollie's kind of got that on lockdown. Bro, Malik Washington, in my opinion, is about to turn into one of the focal points of the Dolphins offense. Are you? Am I on an island here? I know everybody likes Malik Washington, but you've got two running backs. They've used him in the backfield before, some of the handoffs, some of the jet sweeps. Without Tyreek Hill, is he not, after Devon Achane, the most dynamic player on the offense?
Has he already passed Jalen Waddle in your mind?
I mean, I'm not saying he's better than Jalen Waddle. I'm just talking about the ways you can use him out of the backfield. To me, he's more versatile than Jalen Waddle. Waddle's a better receiver overall. Don't get me wrong, Tobin.
Well, he's got the best touchdown of the season.
Yeah,
the punt return. I mean, he does. He's got the coolest touchdown of the season so far. He's certainly you get the ball in his hands. That stuff was, the guy. Didn't he lead the nation in catches in college? Like he's tough minded. I think even for his size, plays bigger. So yeah, I think I don't think you're wrong there. I think this is definitely a signal that you're going to get more of Malik Washington. They're going to lean into that. Again, it kind of felt like, even with Tyreek, and again, we already talked about this in the show. We'll touch on it with Omar a little bit about Tyreek, but it felt like the Dolphins were going to pivot off of that anyway. And so, yeah, I think he was probably part of the plan there.
I look at how Carolina is against the run. I mean, they're not very good, right? Like they're bottom third tier in the NFL in rushing. It just doesn't make sense to me that you expect to run the ball a lot today. I expect Devon Achane to have another big game on the ground, but why not have your laundry list of running backs to choose from to continue to pound the rock against Carolina? And if you're literally taking one of your running backs out of contention here, I just have to imagine we're gonna get Tricky McDaniel today, Tobin. We're gonna get like peak Mike McDaniel, some of the razzle dazzle, maybe just like a creative play design from McDaniel, and I expect Malik Washington to be a part of it.
The other piece that has been pointed out by some of the reporters here, Taj Washington, active for the first time. Yeah. The other pair of the Washington duo, Taj Washington, USC, did not play last year, and this is the first time he gets an opportunity. What that means for him, I don't know. A little taller, a little lankier, but a guy that a lot of people had some big time thoughts on. Louis Riddick was super high on him coming in off the draft. I know a lot of people like Louis Riddick's opinion. When I was banished to Indianapolis. Lincoln Riley, I sat down with him. He legitimately was like, "This is my favorite player." He loves Taj Washington. So maybe though what you will. Maybe he'll make an impact today too. I don't know how many snaps he'll get, but this is certainly with Tyreek's injury, this could be an opportunity for him as well.
You feel like it's going to be a lot of Jalen Waddle, a lot of Malik, and a lot more tight ends involved in the passing game. Whether or not it's Julian Hill, whether or not it's Darren Waller, I don't know. But is that what you're leaning here, or you think there's actually room for like a Taj Washington to have a big game?
I can see the possessions. I think that there's a possibility. I think that in the flashes we saw like he's a guy who also he's kind of similar to the smaller guys. Like he's going to get into space and make things happen. Not like he's a big body he's not necessarily Darren Waller, right? Like he makes tough catches for sure and can flourish there, but it is still a little bit of a bigger target. It was interesting hearing Tua this week speak about kind of the flip to that is that he's got to get used to bigger receivers. The Dolphins, this whole throwing into window to small guys, like it's still there with Malik and Jalen Waddle, but these are some different targets that he's going to have to get used to. And maybe this is a Tua without Tyreek that he is going to, maybe trust these guys to go make some plays more because there isn't necessarily that deep ball connection that wasn't great this year anyway, but there isn't necessarily that pressure to have to go that route either. Not sure. Not positive.
I don't know, but it's shaping up to be big time Devon Achane day, Tobin. That's all I know. Shaping up to be a big performance from Achane.
Would agree. Have you seen a lot of the Dolphin fans this week getting on a tizzy that they want to hop on getting a disgruntled Eagles receiver this week, like an AJ Brown, who is the most miserable person ever at 4-0, and even Devontae Smith has. There's been now rumblings that he's not exactly pleased with how things are going over there. They basically are just bored at they're like, cool, we got our Super Bowl. We'd like to play football and be involved in the football. Would you like the Dolphins? I don't know what it takes. I'd imagine it's going to, I'd imagine the Eagles would want a lot. I don't know what the answer is there, but I mean, maybe they're just like, hey, what are we paying these guys money for? We don't need them. I'm not sure. So would you be interested in the Dolphins going and getting a high priced wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 1, I guess, depending on where you want to put AJ Brown, or do you think it's a ridiculous thing to do at this time?
Ridiculous. It is funny that you brought this up a week ago and all of a sudden it's picking up traction. I hate that.
I'm a fortune teller.
All of us. Yeah. I hate that for all of us. That this actually picked up traction.
Yeah.
Something I thought was just the most ridiculous thing I've heard Tobin say in a long time, which is saying something. But
thank you.
What's funny is the Eagles have been running the tush push, and everybody's like, you can't stop the tush push. You can't stop the tush push. And for months, I'm like, at what point do they fake the tush push? Because you've got just defenses scrambling to stop the tush push. And they finally did it, Tobin. And the funniest part about it is it's not like, hey, let's get Devontae Smith involved. Hey, let's get AJ Brown involved. They're like, bleep you guys. You guys stay off the field. We're going to hand it to our fullback. That's what we're going to do.
Yep.
We're going to fake the tush push. And all these weapons we have that we can incorporate. No. You guys, F you. We're going to hand it to our fullback, or we're going to hand it to our tight end, and they're going to score a touchdown.
Or Saquon, just end around to Saquon. Like it's just, yeah, they're miserable. They're miserable in the greatness. It's like, I don't know what the equivalent to. It's almost like you have like ground floor stock in a company, in a tech company that just booms, but they don't want you to do anything. You just were in the ground floor. Now everybody else is making the decisions. You guys just enjoy your money, and you're like, I'd like to do something for work. Can I do something? Nah, you guys just stay there. Enjoy your dollars. We don't need input. We don't want input. We're coming up with the next idea for the app. You two just shut up. He's like,
it was our tavern.
Yeah, it's like we were at the it was our dorm room. It's like, yeah, cool. We gave you your finder's fee. Like, we're moving on.
Yeah, they're Eduardo Saverin in the social network, and they're going to get squeezed out. Your shares are going to be liquidated. But enjoy the ride as we continue to bring in money.
We'll have you at the parties. You could have a credential that says you're a board member, whatever, but we don't really need you here. And, so maybe some lousy company reaches out and be like, oh, you helped find Facebook? We could use you.
Mm-hmm.
We could use you. He goes, it's kind of like Joe Philbin when we thought Joe Philbin was coming here like as the genius of the Green Bay Packers championship team. And it's like, yeah, I kind of just put binders together for Aaron Rodgers. I didn't call plays. I just was hanging out. People like me. Greg Jennings, tell him what a great guy I was.
I told you I wasn't down for AJ Brown, but I kind of lied. I am down for AJ Brown. I just don't want to give up picks for AJ Brown.
I get you. No, I get you.
If we can get AJ Brown without giving up picks, sign me up. Sign me up.
Would you like a Slim Reaper hat coming in here and you have all of the Alabama core? Or are you done with that?
With the Alabama core. Enough. We haven't won anything with all these Bama guys. Nick Saban's on TV talking about nobody's made more money than my guys at Alabama. That's our great Nick Saban. How many titles have they won? How many playoff games have they won in Miami? None. Enough with the Bama guys. Go get me a possession receiver. Go get me a monster out on the outside.
He's not a monster physically, but I'll tell you who the Dolphins should tank for. This Malachi Toney. I know he's not available for a couple of years. Oh my God, he's the greatest. Oh my God, Brittany, is he not the greatest?
He's ridiculous. Like I haven't seen a player like that.
Brittany was losing her mind yesterday with Malachi Toney. Losing her mind.
Oh my God, he's
just so good.
You just give him the football faster than everybody.
That play that they called back.
He should have had the Hattie yesterday.
Yep.
Tobin, Malachi Toney is probably going to make more money next year in NIL than he would as a rookie in the NFL.
Yeah, he should. Where can I send some of that money? Where can I go? What is he going to be?
Here. You better send some of that money. We better start a Malachi Toney fund because every team around the country is going to be throwing this guy a bag.
He deserves it. He's so good. Take a break. Omar Kelly from the Miami Herald joins us next.
Every Miami
The Dolphins have a win, number 1 of the season, and now it's game number 1 without Tyreek Hill, out for the year. The Finns are in Carolina for a 1 p.m. kickoff with the Panthers today. No Tyreek for Tua. Tua says his message to the team is the same now as it was after Hill's injury happened. Just gotta move on.
Collectively, we knew, we needed to step up in general, regardless of who's in. We feel as if the next man up, and we shouldn't lack the way we play, the style of our play. We shouldn't lack any of that.
Jalen Waddle says now's the time to step up.
He means a lot to the offense, not just going out there and making plays, but just, having him, his spirit, his energy out there, and just his leadership out there. So I think change for the team. We all have to step up. We all got to play for him. And, we all praying for him.
So how will the Dolphins do without Tyreek, but going into today's game following a win? We're going to figure that out on Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans. Tobin Solana with Omar Kelly on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
Game Day Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get offers on select models now through September 2nd. Learn more at Lexus.com. By Edmore Sawgrass Buick GMC. Catch massive savings on over 22 acres of new Buick and GMCs at Edmore Sawgrass Buick GMC. Get backed by Morse and visit EdmoreSawgrassBuickGMC.com. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. And Game Day Uncensored rolls on here as we get you ready for Week 5 of the NFL season. Miami Dolphins taking on the Carolina Panthers. And we've reached the part of the show where we go and link up with our guy from the Miami Herald, Omar Kelly, joining us there. Omar, how is North Carolina? You enjoying it?
Yeah, great weather. Seeing a ton of Dolphin fans. Ooh. I wouldn't be surprised if the stadium was about 40% Dolphin fans. I mean, they are littered all over downtown. You see Dolphins colors and jerseys everywhere.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, we were talking a story last hour that there was a Panthers podcast that just basically hung it up for the middle of the season because they're just like, we can't talk about this anymore. We're done.
Oh, quitters. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. They couldn't take it anymore.
Dan Morgan is who's running the Panthers organization. And, I think Dan Morgan is a really good football mind. He's worked under some great people. You got to give people time. And the one thing I think I've learned from running organizations is don't inherit anybody's quarterback. Go get your own. Because if you get fired with your own quarterback, then that's on you. But when you get fired because you inherited somebody's quarterback and you tried to make it work, you're just a loser.
We were discussing this in the last hour because we were kind of going through it and we're like, the Dolphins could go on a run here, and maybe you could even say they should go on a run here. But are we chalking this up too much? Like, are they that much better than Carolina?
No, and that's the thing. I hate when people go, oh, yeah, well, the Dolphins are better than this team. No, the Dolphins are not better than any team in the NFL. Cleveland can get them. The Chargers have better talent. What else is there? Baltimore, you keep sleeping on Baltimore because they got all these injuries. You sure Lamar's going to be not healthy by the time he plays Miami? Remember when we said in the beginning of the season that the first month of the season was going to be the easy part of the schedule? Yeah, how'd that turn out?
Not great.
Dylan Gabriel's looking. I always say this. I hate when people look at a schedule and say, oh, well, that should be easy or easier than what it is, or that should be harder than one of the harder games on the schedule. In the NFL, it depends on who's healthy, where are they not healthy, and basically how many turnovers you have per game. Those ultimately decide whether or not you win and lose games. Dolphins, yeah, they got offensive line issues, but then so do Carolina Panthers. Okay, Dolphins, they lost their running back. They're on their third off. I want to complain about the right guard situation. Hell, we are on our fourth right guard, but Carolina Panthers are on their third starting right guard. It's every team, but the equalizer is the quarterback play, and you guys know where I stand with Tua. He's not a killer, he's not clutch, but he's hell of efficient, and his efficiency will always keep you in games as long as he doesn't turn the ball over in bunches.
Yeah, unless it's week 1 against Indy or fourth quarter against the Patriots. But I don't want to do the Tua thing. Omar, when you say yes, the Dolphins aren't necessarily better than anybody, I'm with you. I don't think there's a team in the NFL.
There's a team you can say they're better than this team. What, New Orleans? You don't think New Orleans could come up and whoop that tail?
Correct. Like they're not a team where they're not Buffalo. They're not the Chiefs. They're not the Lions where they're going to go play the Saints and you're like, that's a for sure win. I'm with you. But last week you told us they lose on Monday Night Football to the Jets, who ended up being just an unmitigated disaster last week. You were going to release the Kraken. Is this a game where, yes, the Dolphins, we expect them to win? It doesn't mean they have to win, but is this a release the Kraken game for you? If they lose this one, if they fall flat in their face, you're Davy Jones leaving your locker and you're going to release the Kraken? Like what game is that for you?
Well, understand, a release the Kraken situation comes generally at a home loss because you should win your home games, especially against comparable opponents. I don't know what the line is today, but I'm thinking the Dolphins are favored to win. But there is going to be a transitional period of playing without Tyreek Hill. And then you also never know who could get hurt or injured in this game that could change the trajectory of the game. But as I wrote in a Miami Herald column that came out today, no more excuses. I don't want any more excuses for anything about this organization, about this team, about this franchise. This is the team that Chris Greer built. These are the players that Mike McDaniel handpicked. You made this situation for yourself. You're going to lay in it. Okay, you don't have Tyreek Hill anymore. Isn't Jalen Waddle the 12th highest paid receiver in the league? You made him the 12th highest paid receiver in the league. He's going to play like that. Okay, you said, we got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. We don't need a nice receiver. We don't have to address it in the draft. We got Nick Westbrook-Akine. Okay, you chose Nick Westbrook-Akine as one of your top free agents. You made that decision. You made the decision of Malik Washington, Taj Washington. You made that decision. The cornerback situation. You made the 3 starting guys have been here for what? The most is 5 weeks. You made that intentionally. You chose that. You chose to add Rasul Douglas 2 weeks before the season started. You made that decision. You made the decision with this defensive line and Kenneth Grant and Jordan Phillips. And you said these young players we're gonna suffer through some of the growing pains, but these players are gonna be good. You chose them. You chose to let Calais Campbell walk out the door because you didn't want to pay him $6 million. You made that decision. There is nothing. You made the decision on Darren Waller. There is nothing that can be excused for the remainder of the season. You made the decision on the right side of the offensive line. Larry Borum, you made that call. That is your choice. You did that. You didn't add any better guard before claiming Cole Strange. You intentionally did that. So you make this bad team, you will pay the consequences for it. So now if you do not win with this bad team, and I don't think there's anybody who's going to argue that this is not a good team, this you made this bad. You have to lay in it.
Don't forget also the Cam Smith thing. That worked out. That was awesome. Like,
we let that go. We let that go.
No, we didn't let that go. I'm not letting that go.
No,
They don't get to do that this week, Omar. They don't get to just
You don't-
sneak that one under the mat and be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, this was one of my first picks. Bye, toodles."
They snuck it under the mat. I mean, half of Chris Greer's draft picks are trash. So, that's you. You intentionally do that. You did that. You're not good at evaluating talent, but you made him the GM. You stuck with him as the GM. Like there's no excuse for anything that we're seeing. Tua Tagovailoa, you chose him over Justin Herbert. Not to say that I don't disagree. You chose him over Justin Herbert. You chose him over Jordan Love. You chose him over Jalen Hurts. That is a decision that you made.
Tobin,
nobody does.
I was going to say, Omar, not necessarily the best thing a GM wants to be known for. Half his first top picks stink. I mean, not what they want to.
But like that one's crazy because it's not even that he stunk. Like they didn't even play him. That's egregiously bad.
There are circumstances and situations that pretty much have nothing to do with football that contributed to why Cam Smith didn't pan out. And these things happen. You roll snake eyes sometimes.
Didn't his son help with that? Like, didn't they have the inside intel with that? He was teammates with him.
His son is a helpless bystander. I'm not going to do that to a young man like that. Listen,
you don't want to put the son's thing on him?
Listen, he's not good. He wasn't good at his job. We knew he wasn't good at his job. Like, bro, when everybody and their mama comes in here and jump frogs you on the depth chart, like, take a hint. And then, he's pouting all the time. He didn't have a good relationship with his teammates. I'm pretty sure it was a mental situation that led to his being on the NFI. They don't want to continue to invest in him. It is what it is. You knew it was a dead fish when you pulled it out the water. Why are you trying to resuscitate it? Like they should have moved on from Cam Smith a long time ago. Be honest with you, they should have tried to trade him at the trade deadline. Take a 7th round pick to move up in the 6th round. Something. Get him on your hands. But I'm not. I have more of an issue with the fact that Kenneth Grant is not playing well. That the fact that Chop Robinson is not playing well. That the fact that Bradley Chubb is not playing well. That Minkah Fitzpatrick is not playing well. Those are bigger issues for me than Cam Smith didn't pan out. Jack Jones is better than Cam Smith. Bottom line.
Omar, what about Tyreek Hill going down? How important is it for Mike McDaniel and Tua to prove like, hey, we weren't Tyreek Hill merchants? This offense couldn't only succeed with Tyreek Hill. Like, how important is it for them to prove that, for Tua to have that connection with whoever, but obviously Jalen Waddle, but also Mike McDaniel? Like, hey, I can draw up an exciting offense even without one of the most exciting guys in the league.
I hate to break this to you, but I'm sorry. There's nobody in the NFL who wouldn't struggle without losing Tyreek Hill just because of the attention that he draws and how he opens things up for everybody else on the field. Now, we absolutely go into this game with no knowledge, no understanding of how opposing defenses are going to play us. This is going to be the debut. And then you're going to have to figure out how to adapt, how to adjust. What's supposed to decide to stop the run? Then what? We don't know. What's supposed they decide to double? They do double Waddle already, but I have absolutely no idea what it's going to look like. And I think it's going to evolve over time till teams find the right formula. But I will say this: they don't have an excuse for Tyreek Hill because they have practiced more without Tyreek Hill this offseason than they have practiced with him. Tua has great chemistry with Tyreek Hill and with Malik Washington. They should be fine as long as those guys can rise to the occasion and step up. And that's the only fear I have. Will Jay just, because Jalen wants to avoid the whole, you're going to have to step up when Tyreek is down. He wants to avoid it like the plague. But the reality is, Jalen, you are paid $19.2 million a year. You need to play like a big boy. And Malik Washington, that the one theme that you've heard all week from the coaches is these young players are going to have to know their assignment. They're going to have to know their calls. They're going to have to know their audibles. They're going to have to know their adjustments. And they don't know if they're going to know them. They don't know. And so it's like, you can't put a Taj Washington out there and he's not doing what he's supposed to do. You can't put Ollie Gordon out there and he's not doing what he's supposed to do. This offense is like learning calculus, which explains why they got Cedric Wilson, because he knows the offense. He's not good, but he knows the offense. Anybody you would have added to this team, and I know people like obsessed about Chris Olave, for what? For him to suffer his 7th concussion here? They're like, oh, well, we need a better talent wide receiver. By the time somebody you add new figures out this offense, we'll be in December. Season will be over. So they got somebody who they know already knows the offense.
We were discussing
Omar,
this. Go ahead.
Omar, just because you brought it up, Omar, you're gonna carbo load before the game today? You're gonna throw down some fettuccine before kickoff?
No, I'm not a carb guy, and maybe I need to because I'm having migraines. So maybe I do need to try this carb diet. I just don't want to balloon up to 230 pounds. Yeah, listen, I hated that. I hated that for Tua, because all these fans are like, this is so stupid. Like, a neurologist told him, like one of the world's best neurologists told him these things. Like, what do you want the man to do?
I didn't understand why people found this was this was the most normal Tua press conference in a month. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Fight like Omar, when fighters cut weight, they get dehydrated. They have a bad weight cut. They're easier to knock out. It made all the sense in the world to me. People were like, this is stupid. I'm like, this makes all the sense in the world. I don't understand why people are going after him for it.
It doesn't matter what he says or does. I hate the moments where he calls fans out for eating chips and thinking that they can play quarterback. And
right,
all
that's
that.
Not smart.
You come do it. Like, and technically he's right. You just don't want to hear him say it. But there's nothing that he could say outside of going and killing teams and taking lives and having great games that are going to silence his critics. Like, I'm going to tell you this stat, and I tweeted out earlier, so it might not surprise either one of you. Do you know that Tua Tagovailoa is number 2 all time in history, NFL history, for completion percentage from a quarterback?
Yeah,
do you know how hard that is?
That's crazy.
6 years. 6 years, and he's Joe Burrow is at 68.7.5, and Tua's at 68.2. That's number 1 and number 2. Now, why all those guys have passed the Kurt Warners and the Drew Breeses, and maybe it has a lot to do with how the game has changed. But everybody will say, "Oh, Tua, all he does is throw checkdowns." I'm like, I'm sorry. Do you watch the game? Tua doesn't throw. Tua throws is not checkdowns, people. Stop lying on him. He is a very accurate and efficient quarterback, and he's one of the best quarterbacks when it comes to reading the field. Now, do teams play him specifically to stand in his passing lanes and force him to throw outside? Yes, they do. But they've been doing that for 6 years. He's got to adjust. But sometimes you're going to catch him slipping. Now, does he have a problem putting a team's away, rallying his team to a fourth quarter victory, not throwing interceptions in moments where he needs to be clutch? Absolutely. That's an issue. One day he'll figure it out, or he'll become a number 2 quarterback in the NFL. But let's not pretend like Tua sucks. Can we not do that? The guy is number 2 all time in NFL history in terms of QB accuracy. He is on the doorstep of completing 70% of his passes for his entire career. He's got a tremendous efficiency rating on third down, tremendous efficiency rating in the red zone. Like, can we not pretend? Can we stop pretending like he sucks?
No, I don't think he was pretending, but this has definitely been his worst season. Like, I think that's the thing. I think people. I say this is a guy who's gone to bat for Tua a lot. I could say, like, this has for sure been his worst year. And I don't know what the reasons are. I think he's been open about some of the physical natures of some of those things. So he's clearly battling stuff. And I just wonder, is he going to be able to get over all that to get this team back where they are expected to be with him as the QB. Because like, look, we could say losing Tyreek Hill is a big deal. It is. It obviously is. But when you get elite quarterback money, all right, hey dude, let's lift up the rest of everybody here, and I think that's what people will want to see over these next few weeks.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think that that's important. I think that that's where he's not. It's the heavy of the head that wears the crown, and he is not playing like a king in the NFL. Now, the question is, can he get back there? Because he has in his past. He played like one in 2022. He played like one in 2023. Last year was not really that great of a season, and this year has had a bad start. But I think he's delivered like 2 straight 100 passer rated games. As long as Tua is in the 100 passer rated game realm, he's efficient and he's not necessarily the problem. Protection, he talked about, I'm not making it to my last read. Well, answer yourself this question. Why is he not making it to his last read? Think about that for a minute. Like, if you don't feel comfortable with the people protecting you, you're going to rush whatever you're doing. Well, if you put a trash offensive line in front of me, I'm not going to feel comfortable as a quarterback. And people can say whatever they want about what everybody else in the NFL makes it work with what they've got. And that's true. And certainly Carolina's quarterback, Bryce Young, he certainly got his own issues from an offensive line standpoint. But you have to be effective with what you're working with. And unfortunately, Tua is not. And that comes down to the game plan. They moved the pocket. They did a lot of play action last week because they had Quentin Williams. Well, it should show you there's a recipe here. I want to see more I formation. I want to see more RPO. I want to see more rollout plays, because that's where Tua is at his strength. And, standing in the shotgun and just doing playing pitch and catch, that's not where he's really good. He is a quarterback who's got movement skills. Do you want him running? No, you don't want him running for first downs, but you definitely want him to move the launch spot and the pocket, because right now this offensive line he's a sitting duck in it.
Omar, I appreciate the time, man. Enjoy the game.
All right, guys.
All right, we got to take a break here on Game Day Uncensored. Back with more after this.
WQAM, broadcasting live from the Ed Moore Sawgrass Auto Mall Studios. Shop massive savings on a massive Chevy.
Real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
All right, and welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day, Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Brought to you in part by the Lexus TX. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. Thanks again to Omar Kelly for stopping by the program. Let us get to that part of the show where we dive into some action and deal out our porpoise props. Oh, porpoise props. Getting some action, Solana. Big time game against the Carolina Panthers.
Yes, sir.
What do we got for today, Solana? What do you like in this game?
So I want to start here. First of all, the Dolphins are only 1-point favorites.
Yep.
Which, I don't know. Interesting, right?
Big Open's ready, Brittany? Let's get that big O. I can't do it without the big open.
It's time for...
I don't know about you, but that looked like money.
Porpoise props.
Hopefully you didn't jinx us.
Props.
All right, now I feel ready for gambling.
Dolphins 1-point favorites, Tobin. Road favorites, but only a point. I kind of like that. I really do. I think the Dolphins are going to win this game, Tobin.
I think they can win. I feel like
can win.
Yeah, I feel like they can. I feel like I lean that they will.
What?
But I always got
you, man. What happened to you? What's going on here, Tobin?
I mean, come on. What happened to me? What happened to them? What do you mean? What happened to me?
Good point. Because I used to have to try to walk you back from like just irrational Dolphins enthusiasm. And now it almost seems like you're walking me back from enthusiasm. But on the road, Dolphins, Panthers, they're 1-point favorites. They only have to cover 1 point. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they're better. I just think they're better.
Yeah, they played much better the last couple of weeks. Lost to Buffalo aside. They've looked better. They've played better. Carolina, yeah, I think this is arguably they're going up against one of the worst teams in the league today, I think. But I don't know that the Dolphins are a cut above them. Like, if you look at any ranking offensively, the Dolphins are behind Carolina. Like, they're behind them in most of these categories. This is not... Now, they don't have one of their best players, and they also can ill afford not having one of their best guys, just like the Dolphins losing Tyreek Hill. Are the Dolphins more equipped than they are to not have Chuba Hubbard? Probably, which is why I feel like I got to throw a Jalen Waddle anytime touchdown in there today.
There he is.
I feel like I got to. I mean, it just seems responsible in a day like today.
Okay.
But it's like, yeah, what do I put that with today? I mean,
so I've cooked up another 3-legger here that I'm 1-0 in my last 1 week. I cooked up another 3-legger here that I feel confident in. Hear me out.
Okay.
Kevin, all
right.
Jalen Waddle over 5.5 receptions. I just feel like they're gonna try to target Waddle a lot today.
True.
It makes all the sense in the world. Panthers defense, not very good. Panthers pass rush, not very good. I know Omar saying Tua's not a guy you want just standing in the pocket. I disagree wholeheartedly. I think you want Tua to get an established rapport with Waddle moving forward. Not that he doesn't have it, Tobin, but like more than what we've seen. Hey, you're our number one guy. You're our number one target. So I think it has to happen today. I think the running game will open it up. So I like Waddle over 5.5 receptions. I like Malik Washington. I told you this earlier, over 8.5 rush yards. And I like Tua over 1.5 rush yards.
And what does that pay out?
Oh, I don't know. I'll tell you right now.
Okay.
I'll type it all in.
Let's see. We got, okay, so you want Tua rushing yards, Malik rushing yards, and Waddle receptions.
Yeah. That's plus 525.
That's not too bad.
Not too bad. I mean,
that's not too bad. If you're throwing the Jalen Waddle touchdown in there too, if you got the Jones to do that.
No, I did not.
Plus 900.
Ooh, okay. Now we're talking. Are you gonna take Darren Waller to score 2 touchdowns? I think it's at plus 2,000, 3,000.
2 touchdowns for him after a week he just had 2 touchdowns seems a little irresponsible. I mean, you know, I don't know. Let me see. Touchdowns today. Yeah, plus 2,000. Who do you like more to score 2 touchdowns, him or Malik Washington? Because Malik Washington is plus 1,700 to score 2 touchdowns.
Malik Washington. I think I like Malik Washington.
I think I like Malik Washington too.
If Darren Waller scores 2 touchdowns again, I will buy a Darren Waller jersey. I'll buy that.
Really?
I will spend my hard-earned money that should be going towards losing parlays, 3-leg parlays, to a Darren Waller Miami Dolphins jersey.
I think I'm sticking with my parlay that I've been using all year because I want it to hit. I feel like today Zach Sealer gets his first sack. It has to be today. If it's not today, then never. And I'm off this bet. But I'm going by Zach Sealer, Malik Washington anytime touchdown because it's juiced back up to plus 1,100.
All right.
I am going to bet Julian Hill anytime touchdown today because I feel like something can happen there. And plus, I got a bonus bet to play around with the Hard Rock app, so I'm having some fun. But I'll ride with your parlay. I like it. It. I think I'm with you. I just determining whether I want to get super greedy with it and also throw the touchdown in there.
I like Waddle to score a touchdown. Don't get me wrong.
Should we go with Achane? Achane's been so good at getting just everything, you know, like Achane anytime touchdown or Achane to score 2 touchdowns with something else. Like, would you put Achane 2 touchdowns? Let me go. Achane 2 touchdowns with the Tua rushing parlay. That's plus 900.
Now we're talking.
Achane to score 2 touchdowns, Tua over 1.5 rushing yards, plus 900.
Boom. Now we're talking, Tobin.
All right, that's in. I'm using my bonus bet for that.
I'm in.
There we go.
Bonus bet as well. There we go.
Boom. Ready to rock. All right, those are our porpoise props. We'll take a break. More to come here on Game Day Uncensored. We'll predict the game ball. Give some final thoughts on Dolphins and Panthers. Back after this.
Every Miami Hurricanes football game can be heard here.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Take you guys up until this 1 o'clock kick from North Carolina. And just checking out, looks like we got a final here from London. Dylan Gabriel chucked it downfield. And it looked like he was picked off, but I guess they called timeout before, so they're negating it, and they're going back in. So they wiped away the play. So that's where we're at right now. Still 7 seconds left. So Kevin O'Connell, he's upset about something, Solana, with the referees. I guess he's upset with the call that they're saying that he called timeout. He's giving them the old stink face. Little bit of a weird place to call a timeout. Like, you know what's coming. They're going to have to chuck it downfield. And Dylan Gabriel got it to the end zone, but it was right to a white jersey. So looks like they're going to get another crack at this thing to try and win this game.
Kind of seems like a decent outing debut for Dylan Gabriel. Like, all things considered, whether or not they win.
No, they're going to roll the clock. Okay, now it's over. He then tried to go down, and the guy tried to get out of bounds at the second left. He wasn't able to do it. So we got the Vikings win in London, 21-17 in the Leroy Horde Bowl. And Dylan Gabriel, I'll give you his final numbers here today.
He's there, right? Didn't he go?
He was supposed to go, but there was some chicanery with some Peaky Blinder thing. I don't know what's going on over there. For the best. Who likes London anyway? But Dylan Gabriel finishes 19 of 33, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Big game for former Miami Hurricane David Njoku, 6 yards, 67 catches, and 1 touchdown for the former Canes tight end. Carson Wentz, 25 of 34, 236 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Jordan Mason, 13 carries for 52 yards and a touchdown rushing. And Justin Jefferson, for fantasy players out there, 7 catches, 123 yards, no touchdowns. Those went to Josh Oliver and Jordan Addison in the Vikings jerseys. So there you go. That is the final score over in England for that one. But let us predict here, Solana, and get to our Predict the Game Ball. Our player to watch, which is brought to you by the Lexus TX. Room for all your passions and 3 rows of luxurious comfort. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. Who do you got today, Solana? Who will come away with the game ball here if the Dolphins win this Week 5 matchup?
Oh, of course, the Dolphins are going to get the game ball and hand it to Cam Smith. No, I think it's going to be Achane, but it's such an easy pick to go with Tobin. Like, so I'm just going to ride with who I've been high on all week, who I've been high on throughout all of Game Day Uncensored. That's Malik Washington. And it's not like a hot take here. He's going to be featured a little bit more. Tyreek Hill goes down. Just something tells me Mike McDaniel loves to have like a toy, right? He loves to have one guy where he's like, hey, we're going to have you do everything.
Yep.
And I just have this hunch that it's going to be Malik Washington. He's going to be Mike McDaniel's favorite guy in the offense to draw up plays for.
Oh man, I'm watching this video of Tua. He's Papa Tua. He's got his 2 adorable kids with their #1 daddy jerseys on there. So cute.
Adorable.
Totes adorbs Tua. Man, I'm going to go in this one. I'm going to go with Tua. I think Tua's going to have probably his best game of the season today.
Oh, wow. You just got sold with the
I just got sold by the kids. I'm a sucker.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for hugs.
You're a dad.
Hugs. Yeah.
You're a
dad
prototypical
vibes.
dad. I want to give you a little, you're adorable.
I just want to
man.
pinch his cheeks, Tua. He's so adorbs. I'm going to go with Tua. Tua, light it up. Bring us, please, anytime touchdown parlays as well. And the win. And, of course, the win.
Well, Cole Strange, protect Tua. Larry Borum, try not to get pancaked today.
Yeah, please.
Reverse pancaked. And Aaron Brewer, let's get the snap to Tua to where it's not so hard. It's not that hard, you know? I mean, and it's not even his fault, but maybe let's just soften up the snap for our guy.
Yeah, what are we doing here, Aaron? What are you pitching in the MLB playoffs with your knuckleballs? Let's get it right, dude. Brittany, you got anybody you think is gonna have a good game today? Anybody you predicting for the game ball?
You know, I'm gonna go a little off base, and I believe in numerology. I could not spit that out. And I've seen a lot of 17s this morning. Lots of 17s. So I'm gonna go with Jalen Waddle.
I like it.
No, it's baseless. There's no base to it other than I've seen a lot of 17s and I like numerology.
I like it. Are you interested at all, Solana, today in Sunday Night Football? We got a divisional matchup between the Patriots and the Bills. Do you think that the Bills stay unbeaten today, or do you think Drake May can get it done?
Here's why I'm not interested. I endured enough stress Thursday night watching McCorkle Jones actually look good. That's former New England Patriots player that starred in primetime. And just the thought of having to watch Josh Allen and another Patriots quarterback shine in primetime, it just stresses me out, man. Drake May's looking really good. He's been one of the top 10 quarterbacks statistically in the NFL this season. And the idea that Mac Jones, all of a sudden, Kyle Shanahan snaps his fingers and it looks great, just scares me. It scares me a lot.
The entire time in that draft was that he wanted to take Mac Jones third, and then apparently they went Trey Lyles. Just got scared off of it. So very strange. I'm really rooting for Cam Ward today at 4:00. They're taking on the Cardinals. I really need Cam Ward I feel bad for him saying that we are ass. I'm just like, he's not wrong, but I feel like I was hoping for a much smoother start to his NFL career, and those Titans are god awful.
You see the numbers too, like specifically QB stats, QB rankings. Bro, Cam Ward, and I love Cam Ward. I'm not hating, but Cam Ward ranks at the bottom pretty much of every quarterback stat heading into week 5. It's been
he hasn't been good. I mean, he doesn't have like a prayer. He gets sacked every game. He's been sacked basically 4 or 5 times, 6 times. But yeah, it's rough. They got shut out last week. It hasn't been impressive. I'm not here defending Cam Ward, but I do know we all realize he's on a terrible team. I was just a little delusional in thinking he could just use his Cam Ward magic to fix it. He cannot. Some things are more powerful than that. Unless, of course, what would be his elixirs if he took on the Dolphins on Monday Night Football, then the Titans would definitely win.
Oh, they'd win 100%. If they could play the Dolphins every single week in prime time, they'd be undefeated. He'd be Tom Brady within a couple seasons. I want to see, Tobin. I want to see this Houston-Baltimore game. What the hell the Ravens are going to look like. Their inactives list is the best team ever assembled. It's insane the amount of guys that they have out.
Yeah.
And then Houston, what the hell, Texans? You got your quarterback in a state of flux where he's like, oh, I wish I was as athletic as I was 2 years ago. Hey, you're 23 years old, CJ Stroud. Settle down. Go win a football game you're supposed to win. Baltimore's going to drop to 1-4 if they don't win today. Fascinating to me. They're a Super Bowl favorite.
I strangely follow a good amount of people from Houston on social media. He's had a weird year, CJ Stroud. They're all a little, I don't want to say rats off a ship, but they're all looking at him a little side-eyed. What's your deal, dude? He was wearing people got crazy because of the hats that he was wearing during press conferences because they hate the Yankees. He was wearing a Yankees hat. They were battling the Mariners. He was wearing a Mariners hat. For the AOS, they're just they're a little annoyed with CJ Stroud not being as excellent as he was his rookie year. So something to keep an eye on. And then, Baltimore's got Cooper Rush going today. I mean, first of all, why Cooper Rush is their backup quarterback? Crazy. So I don't know. That one's interesting. Eagles, Broncos, pretty good matchup there.
Yeah. What's funny about Cooper Rush is that it could have been Shedeur Sanders starting today.
It could have been.
It could have been Shedeur Sanders starting today in an important game for the Baltimore Ravens. And instead, he's backing up Dylan Gabriel in London.
He's not even backing him up. He's still the third string.
Yeah.
Crazy. And he's doing bit wars with Rex Ryan.
He's miming in the locker room.
The thing that was crazy about that story, which he didn't deny, is man, I know they have Lamar Jackson, but 1,000 times out of 1,000, you should always want to go to Baltimore over Cleveland.
Every time.
As far as organizations are concerned.
Every time. Every time you get to go to a structured organization, instead you end up with probably the most dysfunctional franchise in the NFL.
Yeah. I'm surprised his dad like convinced. Like, I get it. They were like, no, we're gonna start. But obviously something happened where people weren't, enamored with him or as enamored. And he had a really good first preseason game. We all saw it. But I don't understand why, if you were his dad, you would be like, yeah, Baltimore 100 times out of 100 over Cleveland. Cleveland? I don't know about that one, dude. That's crazy. That is absolutely nuts. All right, everybody. That is Game Day Uncensored. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Dolphins, don't blow this, all right, dude? I don't want to have to do another week of firing everybody. Because let me tell you something. If you lose this game, I'm telling you right now, we're playing who we firing tomorrow, okay? That is going to happen, all right? So just be forewarned, and you're getting all of Monday, all right? Because Panther season starts this week. The Heat, they start their real preseason this week. So I'll have things that'll make me feel better. I'll be in a mood to be pissed off on Monday. So don't blow this, dude. Don't blow this. Don't lose.
Let's get another weekend where the Canes and Dolphins win. Let's have
nice.
Like a double celebratory Monday rather than on this high with the 5-0 Hurricanes, but again back down on a low. Dolphins losing to the Panthers.
100%. All right, Solana, thank you for your time. Brittany, great job today. Everybody, thank you for tuning in, and we will talk to you next time.
And we've come to the conclusion of another Game Day Uncensored pregame show. Week 5 edition. Dolphins and Panthers coming up in moments. We'll be back to talk about it after the game on the Game Day Uncensored postgame show on FM 104.3 WQAM.